What's up, y'all? How you guys doing? It's your girl b.o.u.q.u.i. You know what we do here. It's BOUQUI'S place. We don't talk about the glitz or the glam. We talk about the grit and the grind. And we bring your favorite people. We bring people that have been through the fire. They've come back to show you that you don't have to go through the fire. They're coming to practically equip you with tools and resources that you need to do destiny. And in the building today, I have the phenomenal, the one and only Olakunle Soriyan. Drum roll, drum roll, drum roll.
Great to be here. I see some good people joining us. Pastor Dixon is from Zambia. Oluwaseun,
wow.
Ambassador, I see you. Bello, I see you. Yeah, I see guys are joining up little by little. We just have to try this. This is our first time here. This is BOUQUI'S first time here. This is my first time on Facebook Live. We've gone around the world, struggle with this thing, but we are here. So we want to do this and just test it, and then we'll take it from there. You're all welcome. Mr. Akiri Missing, it's good to see you too.
Yes. All right, you know, so we're just going to dive straight into the show. It's such a pleasure to have you here, you know, all the struggles aside. Thank you for always honoring the call. And I think that really it's more of, you know, a mandate. When you have a mandate on you and you see people doing something that resonates with you, it's like you take it as your own. You're not doing this as a guest, like, oh my God, I can't figure this out. BOUQUI'S, let's do it tomorrow. You know, that kind of thing. It's like something that's a burden on your mind. Why is people's identity? Because I know that you're big on identity. You're big on, I need you to find who you are. That's the only time you can make, you know, a difference and all that. Why is identity such a big thing to you?
So identity is critical because at the end of the day, you know, everything in life is pretty much like a built-in device, like a built device. Life is pretty much like Lego, where every component has a specific point of expression and location, right? So destiny itself is location sensitive. And there is a place designed for you. You just can't. You look at everything in the world. Is it animals? Every animal cannot survive everywhere and everywhere, right? The fish cannot choose to live, you know, out of water. The lion cannot choose to live in the ocean. Apple will not grow in Accra. You know, there are fruits, vegetables, different things in the world. There are animals you will never find in Africa. There are animals you will never find in Europe, but in Africa. There are types of snakes that will never migrate to Europe or North America. They'll be in Africa. Some will never leave North America. They will never migrate to Europe. You know, you find that everything God made is made with an environment, you know, and is made within a specific sphere of influence and expression, right? So life is not going to reward you, however, for your similarities, because people make the mistake in assuming that, you know, because we all have eyes, we have nose, we have a mouth, dentition, hands, legs, and all of that, that, you know, that kind of captures your identity, but it doesn't, because everyone then has that. Everyone possesses the eyes, the hands, the legs, the brain, the face, the nose. So usually you cannot define your best self by your similarities, because a lot of people can reproduce that similarity. Somebody may say, well, I have only my fingerprint. But who's taking your fingerprint? You have fingers. That's what everybody has. So you at the end of the day, you have to find your difference. Your difference is away from your similarities with everyone. Your difference, however, is your personal power. Your difference is also your capacity to stand in your power and stand in your purpose. And your difference is your critical success factor, not your similarities. Your difference is your critical relevance factor. And your difference is your critical greatness factor. So you will never be anything away from your difference. Life does not reward you, recognize you for your similarities with people. You are rewarded for your difference. So it's key that you find that difference. Now, that difference is not just in the container, because there is the container part of identity, right? Which is the packaging that captures your real identity. So when you pay for Coca-Cola, you are not paying for the bottle, you are paying for the drink. And Coca-Cola reminds you that the bottle is not yours. They say Coca-Cola liquid content only. They emphasize the only that.
Can I say when I was a kid and we used to buy those Coke in the Coke crates in the wooden thing, and I would read liquid content only. I used to think, am I supposed to eat the bottle? Like I was a kid, like, sorry, just go ahead.
So this is Coca-Cola reminding you that at the end of the day, the value exchange is in the content, not the container. It's in the content. And every time you come in contact with anything, that thing has a container representation and it has a content representation. The distraction of life is to go with the obvious. The obvious is the container. So you see people put a lot of money on how they look, their nose, their legs, their back, their chest, all of that. They put so much money on that, but their real identity is not that at all. That is just like what allows us to see you. So the way I put it is, everything on the face of the earth has features, has two parts essentially. It's features and is essence, right? So for example, this watch has features. The features of the watch are leather strap, there could be chain straps, gold strap, diamond strap, analog watch, manual watch, digital watch. You have all kinds of features that try to define the watch. That is container, that is feature. The goal of feature is to allow us to recognize you at the strength of you, to identify you, to see you as you are represented physically, right? But your essence is what really defines you. So the essence of the watch is to tell time. If this watch has a gold and diamond strap and cannot tell time, it's useless. Even though it's so beautiful, the essence is to tell time, right? The same way you've got, if a watch can't tell time, no matter how well designed it is, it is no longer a watch. Maybe it's a watch, maybe it's a but it's not a watch. To really go all the way to be called a watch, regardless of its features, regardless of its design, it has to tell time. It has to tell time. That is the constant. In the same way, you got a beautiful car. A car has different features. You have automatic ignition, transmission. You have manual transmission. You have leather seats, fabric seats. You have keyless cars. You have alloy wheels. You have tubeless tires. You have all kinds of features. But a car must do three things. No, regardless whether it's a Rolls Royce, whether it's a Mercedes Benz or a Porsche, it must Camaro, whatever it is, it has to produce movement. It has to produce movement. It has to give speed. At least no car, no human being should outrun a car. So a car will provide movement, will give speed and a level of comfort. If a car cannot do that, no matter how beautiful, even if you have a gold steering, it's useless to its purpose because it cannot deliver the constant, the essence of the design, which is beyond the container. So what defines a car, therefore, is not just the features or the similarities with other cars, it's the fact that that car can provide movement, can move people. The best car that cannot move will be not a car.
So even that means that even a car that has just the wheels and just maybe a seat, how these people create a caricature and it can move me from point A to B. It has no covering. It has no, if it moves me and fulfills the essence and the purpose of a car, it is better than a gold-plated car.
It's better than a gold-plated car that will not move, right? So if you bring that to human beings, right, we then have to ask, so what are the constants? What are the essence of a human being? When we spoke on Instagram, we didn't get a conversation to this point, but this is so critical because the human being has that essence as well, away from his container. So the container is your type of nose, your type of eyes, your type of mouth, your type of hands, and all of that, right? Now there are three expressions to how you view a human being. The first expression is the capture of his physical parts, his hands, his leg, his teeth, all the things you can see on him.
Appearance, yeah.
His appearance. Then there is the capture of his tangible but unseen parts, right, which is his brain, his lungs, his intestine. They are tangible. You can touch them, but they are covered by that first layer, so you don't see them. Then there is the capture of his intangible and invisible parts. For example, his reasoning, right? The strength of his thinking. You don't see that. It doesn't have a color. It will never wear a shirt. It will never wear a shoe. So that is where the human identity resides, right? And in that identity, there are also commonalities. For example, a human being can love, can give, can serve, and no other species in the world can supply those three things. The dog cannot, the lion cannot. If a lion walks into a room where there are 24 kids, it's not going to say, "Oh, who brought us here? Ayana, what are we doing here? These are kids. Let's leave this room." No. All it sees is food, and it's going to attack the kids. And it's not wickedness.
It's the way it's wired.
It's going to go for those animals, those human beings immediately, right? But on the back of that, beyond his capacity to love, which if you can't love, English language says you are now inhuman. How did history describe an Adolf Hitler? They say he's inhuman. A Bin Laden was described as inhuman. Why did they call them inhuman? Because they fail that test of love, of giving, and of service, right? So the moment you fail that test, history captures you as someone who is inhuman. Because to be human, it is the things a lion cannot do that you will do. You have a sense of empathy, you can love, you can demonstrate kindness, you can do all of that. But when it comes to your unique purpose in life, that is even a deeper layer than this layer. Now, most people fail the test of this layer in that they struggle to love. What does it mean to love? To eliminate fear around you. To eliminate fear around you. Every time you eliminate fear around you, you are at your highest level of love, because perfect love, when love is perfect, it eliminates fear. It casts out fear. So if people are free to reach you, if people look to your discipline and to your kindness and your toughness for inspiration, right? If people have to hide who they are or hide their wretchedness or their weakness from you, there's still something wrong in your love, right? When you are loving, people should not just look forward to when you are smiling. They should be prepared to receive you even when you are frowning and expressing discipline, because they know where it's coming from. It's from a foundation and a deep place of love. That is why we would rather fall into God's hands than fall into the hand of a human being. We know it will discipline. We know it will, it will put you through, straighten you up and take you through chastisement. But you prefer that because you know that is not designed to kill you, but to lift you, right? And that inside that there are gaps of forgiveness, there are gaps of kindness, empathy, transformation, healing, and all of that packed into that chastisement, packed into that, discipline, right?
But the trust has to be established that this person is not. How your parents will say, "I'm just whooping you because I love you." No, you're whooping me because you're mad,
Yes.
But if it comes from a place of, I trust you, I can depend on it. And let me tell you something that I do, right? And just please maintain your chain of thoughts.
Yes.
My dad will say that, eat the meat and chew the bone out. And there was a time when we were kids, we were like, okay, you know what? Let's all bond. When we watch some movies and you're like, let's bond. Let's call a meeting every week and tell each other what we do wrong. So we will call each other, and Bouquis is rude. Bisala is this, Jide is that, and then we will, and then we couldn't sustain it. If you ever say I'm rude again in your life, you too, yeah. And then my dad now said, Shabi, you guys called a meeting to tell the truth. You should learn that when you go into the world, people, your haters will be the people that tell you the truth the most. You should learn to eat the meat and spit the bone. Forget how they said it, you know? So, I mean, that I had to transcend how people say things and just take the lesson from it, you know? But if you trust someone for real, it's easier for you to digest the discipline.
Yes. And trust is not bestowed, you know? Trust has to be earned every time, right? So it is left for each of us to understand that we owe it to our soul, to our conscience, to our personal peace, and to our environment to really eliminate fear around us. On the worst day of everybody around you, they should still be proud to come and be in your presence on their worst day, right? Even if they know you are going to pour loads of correction, you will not be punishing them, because there's a difference between punishment and correction. The goal of correction is transformation. The goal of punishment is to offer the offender an equal experience of your own disappointment or misery. That is punishment. And so any fool can punish. You don't need formal training to know how to be punished, to know how to punish people, right? But you need, because punishment is an embarrassment of nature. Any fool can punish. Correction is a skill. You don't just know how to correct. You have to, you just don't know how to be a medical doctor. You just don't know how to be a lawyer. People miss that. They just think that just because they have grown and they have time recorded in their existence and they are now 24, they can correct people. You can't correct. Most of the time you are punishing people. You are offering people an equal experience of your frustration, of your misery, of your disappointment. That is punishment. Skill, correction will feel everything you feel, will be as livid as you, will be as upset as you. But first, it will suspend judgment. It will withhold judgment. Come into the shoes of the offender, experience his world, and return to his own shoe to pass judgment. That is empathy. And the goal of that is healing, transformation, right? So everything the punisher feels, the one correcting will feel. The difference is one is already in the shoe of the offender, the other one is just drowned in his own feelings and his own emotions, and is taking actions from there. In other words, it's moving from emotion to action. The other gentleman who is correcting is not just moving from emotion to action, it's first of all recognizing his emotions, subjecting that emotions to reasoning, and allowing that reasoning to be guided by truth before it moves to emotion. So emotions is just like freedom. You always have to subject it to reasoning, and you must allow that reasoning to be guided by truth before you move to A, which is action. Every time you move from E to A, you are susceptible to error. You are going to crush yourself and crush people, because you are instinctive, unnecessarily spontaneous, and you are not guarded in that moment, right? So being able to love is to eliminate fear around you. Then to be able to give is to empower a world beyond the one you own. So if you pay school fees, that's not giving, that's duty. You know, when you provide money in the house, that's not giving at all, that's duty. When you do the things you're supposed to do, like the way we praise African leaders for fixing the road, you know, or for doing stuff like that, that's nothing that is expected of them. They have done what is expected of them, right? So that's not giving. Giving is empowering a world beyond the one you own. Beyond the one you own. So if you give to your son, of course it's expected. When you give to your enemies and you leave societies that you have no benefit from, that you have no direct value from, there's really no defined return on investment for you, but you are doing it for the goal of giving people the attention and resources their individuality or collective experience deserves, regardless of whether you are from that environment or not, right? That is giving. So when you learn to love, to eliminate fear around you, when you learn to give, to empower a world beyond the one you own, and when you learn to serve, and serving is not piety, it's not about bending down or taking people's bags and stuff like that. Service is two things. One, solving demonstrable human problems in the world. That's service. So they are servants of the universe. They are servants of humanity. That is where you find All those guys who create, like Bill Gates, like Elon Musk, those are shepherds of humanity. These are people that are creating and impacting on how we love, how we live, how we walk, how we play, how we die, how we do everything, right? These guys are contributing to that. And you are either a hireling in that process or you are a shepherd in that process. Yeah. If you are a hireling, you are taking from the world to expand your own territory. If you are a shepherd, you are blessing the world, you know, by expanding the territory of your recipients, right? So that is there. The second part of service is to be able to help dreamers to get closer to their dream, to help dreamers get closer. In other words, helping other people fulfill their dreams, right? So once you are helping people fulfill their dreams and you are focused on solving demonstrable human problems, you are in service. And then if you eliminate fear around you, you are in love. And when you get busy empowering a world beyond the one you own, then you are giving. Now that's basic. That is the condition that defines every human being. When you miss that, even by one, if you miss only one of them, you are already inhuman. You are not, you still pass the test of features in that you have the face, you have the hands, you have the leg, but you have failed the test of essence, because the essence of a human being is not just to be able to appear, it's to be able to appear in a force and in a format, which is the ability to love, to give, and to serve. And I dare tell people that when you find human beings who lack, who are poor, go close to them. They are struggling with their humanity. They are struggling with their power to love. They are struggling with their power to give and their power to serve. And I tell people further that even if you don't have a job and you get busy loving your environment, giving in your environment of your, and you can only give three things: either you are giving money, you are giving time, or you are giving resources. It's one of the three. Right? You are giving, you are giving energy, time, or resources. It's one of the three. There's no fourth one. So if you get busy, even if you don't have money, and you are giving your energy and your time, or you are giving your money, whatever it is you are giving within those three blocks, or you are loving, eliminating fear, or you are serving, helping others move closer to their dreams and focusing on solving demonstrable human problems, you will never lack. So you are not designed, you don't have to get a job to be supplied. You don't have to get a job to be rewarded in life. In fact, I don't know anyone who can live to those three things and be jobless. I don't know that kind of person. I always tell people, okay, yes, please go ahead.
So my question is this. You mentioned something earlier on. You said that, I can't really remember how you said it, but the question, it was about people that hurt people. That the reason why some people think that correcting is they're punishing, but they don't know, they don't recognize it because they themselves are broken. Yes. You know, and we all know that there are three basic things that limit a man: his character, worth, the knowledge in his mind, his principles, and the ground he stands on, right? Yeah. So if I, as a human being, I am broken, because what you said, it sounds like it's just, oh yeah, I'm just gonna make sure that I don't punish people, and if I'm broken and I will do to the next person what was done to me. Great. You know, so if my dad beat me and hit me and did all that, and I did not get healing from that, I will transfer that to my child or to someone else's child or anybody in my care. So if I am broken, number one, how do I recognize that I am broken? If I don't know how to demonstrate love, if I don't know how to care for people, if I don't know how to eliminate fear totally, how do I recognize, isolate, and then fix that problem? So, yeah, I always tell people that every human behavior is governed by programs. When you see a marriage go sour or a relationship go sour, the first thing you need to check is the operating system. That runs that marriage, because everything has a software, right? And relationships go bad when a software is outdated and due for an update that is not taken. Oh, virus. And then once it's due for update and the update is not taken, it's more open to virus. I don't care if it's a phone, whether it's a computer.
any device. Once you miss the update, you are more susceptible to attack. You are open to virus attack. You can be hacked easily. Everything just stopped working. You just begin to struggle with that system. What is needed is an update. It's an update. And a lot of times some of us have not taken updates in the last 20 years. Some of us have never taken updates since we're born. We just continue to drag the same system from level to level to level. You can imagine that you bought iPhone 5 or something. First of all, we now have iPhone 13, right? You don't have iPhone 13. Now you are not even now you now have a 13 Pro Max. You don't have that. You still have iPhone 5 or whatever it is, or iPhone 8. But you are even not taking the updates of the one that you have. You're already so behind your entire the device itself that what drive that device already out of date. But you don't even take the relevant updates for that particular device. The next experience is malfunction, right? So people don't get married, their programs get married. People don't choose friends, their programs choose friends. People don't do business, their programs do the business. So when you sit down to look at the results you are getting, there's no such thing as a bad program or a good programs. They are only programs. It's either they are working for you or they are working against you. So are you getting the type of results you should be getting? Because there are people you cannot help. You can't help anyone who's unaware that he has a problem. You can't help the person.
Yeah.
But you also can't help anyone that thinks you are part of their problem. You know, that's worse. You really can't help that person, no matter how hard you try. Even God cannot help you when you think God is part of your problem. He really can. You really have to come to a doctor, humble that you are meeting your solution. You have to do that. That difference must be there, that you have come to a professional with the capacity to help you beyond your scope. Once you misdefine who your doctor is, I was talking to somebody the other day who was just trying to go back and forth with me, and I stopped her. I said, listen, I don't argue, you know. I don't get into debate, you know, I don't. Because when you go to see your doctor, you don't argue, you listen. The problem is because you don't have headache, you are not bleeding physically, your legs are not broken, you think you can just come here and argue life. No. Sitting in front of me is as good as sitting in front of your doctor or your lawyer or your engineer. You are going to come humble. But the problem is it's easier to go and see your doctor and humble yourself because you are bleeding and you can't fix it. You have pain in your body, you cannot fix it. You know you need somebody. But when it comes to sitting in front of a thinker, of a coach, of a therapist, you know, you don't feel anything. You just feel it's about your views. And so you just stay true and loyal to your views, and your views are killing you. So I said, you are going to listen, or I'm not going to have this conversation because I can't be arguing with my patient. You are a patient right now, just in case you don't know. You are really a patient. You know, so it's very important that you sit down to say, are these the type of results I want to be getting? It doesn't matter who is supporting you. It doesn't matter who is approving you. If a billion fools say you are the only one that is wise, how wise are you? So it doesn't really matter who is behind you. You need to sit down and say, is this the results I want to get? And once you are not getting the type of results you are getting, you need help. It's as simple as that, right? So it's that law of recognition that begins everything. You know, the moment you begin to accept yourself that I'm not getting the type of outcome I want to get, right? I'm not, you know, you are doing everything in business, but you are not making money. Right now, that's understandable. It's an experiment. If you were 15, it's a deeper experiment. If you were 21, even if you were 30, it could be adventure. The moment you are 40, 45, 50, it's no longer, this is now a burden. You now have a big problem here. This is not an adventure. This is not indulgence. This is nothing anymore. This is now some type of conspiracy against yourself or against you. You need to sit down, understand what is missing, and pay attention to it. So I think that's where it begins from. What is easier, there are expanded thoughts to that, which is we can talk about the technical things that will let you know that you need to pay attention to this and all of that. But that is because you have submitted to that person. On your own, on your own, I mean, if you come to see a professional, there are so many things I can show you, tests, all kinds of things I can take you through that will make you see the weight of what you are dealing with. But for you to come to me, I'm not going to be there for you to decide to come to me. So what we are talking about is what will make you know I need to see somebody now. There's something wrong with me, right? You have a son in your house. You've been dealing with this son, correcting him. You think you are correcting him, and his rebellion is growing every day. His sense of curiosity is expanding every day. Is validating opinions out there and invalidating yours in the house consistently. Is acting against all the rules. Is not loyal to anything, and is growing on that. You don't need, rocket science. This is not. You need to know that you are doing something wrong.
Yeah.
You are doing something wrong, and more determination is not going to solve this problem. I always tell parents, any act of parenting after 18 years is damage control. Any act of parenting, I don't care what it is. Once you are a mother for life, you are a parent for only 18 years. You are a mom for life, you are a dad for life, but you are a parent for only 18 years. Because by 18, your daughter or your son should be ready for any level of responsibility, including a jail term. So don't tell me that your daughter can go to jail at 18, but he cannot start a business, he can't get married, he can't run internship, he can't get a job, he can't do all of those things, but he can go to jail. Because the social justice system says once he's 18, he can go to jail.
It's legal, yeah.
If he shoots someone when he's 17, they don't even call him a criminal. They say he's at conflict with the law.
Yeah.
They don't call him a criminal because he's minor. If I slap him when he's 17, they say I'm slapping a minor. Yeah. If I suspend my anger and slap him 1 year after, when he's 18, he's still fighting. He must defend himself. Because once he's 18, the social justice system says every human being must be ready for every level of responsibility, including a jail term. The fact that you are qualified to go to jail automatically qualifies you to have any other experience. You can be a billionaire, you can be a millionaire, you can sit as CEO of a bank, you can do anything. Once you are 18, you should be able to do anything because you can go to jail. So let nobody tell you that you can go to jail, but you can't have a boyfriend, or you can't get married, or you can't. If they have failed in their responsibility to get you ready for society by 18, we can understand that. But you should have been ready. And any act of parenting after 18 years is damage control. So I always tell people there's so much programs that we have received from our parents. And what is a program? A program is a learned. It's your habit of thinking, and it's learned from the influences around you, and you don't even know that they are there. I always tell people that I struggled with the program for many years. My dad, nobleman, and when we were growing up, he put out his best for us. No matter what is going on in the home, no matter how tough it is, my dad will have money for education. He will sell anything for us to go to school. It will borrow, it will do whatever it needs to do to put us through school. It will never, it can struggle, it may not wear shoes, it may not do, but it will ensure that we have that. And every time I see my dad in that situation where he needs to pay for a noble thing and he can't pay it, or he doesn't have the money at the time, I see him do only two things. It's either he's borrowing or he's selling something. He doesn't do, it's either he's borrowing something or he's selling something. And I observe, and I used to honor that. I used to respect him for that, and then he passed and he went, and I began to build my own dynasty, and I began to raise my own family and doing things great, and everything was perfect. And I didn't know that I've received a program from him until I had a major crisis, right, years after, where I was exposed to hundreds of millions of naira in debt. And I had to begin to respond. And guess what? I was doing the same thing my dad was doing only one of two things, or both: borrow or sell. Borrow or sell. And that became a vicious cycle. And I didn't know I picked up that program. It was in that crisis I realized that, oh my God, I picked up this. So I need to uncover this program, because to deal with the program, the first thing is to uncover the program, which is 50% of the job. And then begin to, take decisions against that program and begin to write another one, right? So, and programs will come to you just like that. It's your habit of thinking. So imagine that you have a habit that you are trying to stop and you are struggling with. Now, imagine maybe it's anger, maybe it's greed, maybe it's ice cream, maybe it's a soap opera on TV or whatever it is. Now, imagine a habit of thinking. It's almost your nature. It's just the way you look at life. And you know what a program does? A program eliminates your options.
Options, yeah.
It tells you this is the only way to think. So if you face that problem 9,000 times, you are going to respond to it the same way 9,000 times, because options are designed to be infinite, but your program says this is the only way to address this problem. That's why people talk about generational curses. They talk about generational this. A lot of times it's just generational attitude. It's just generational attitude. It's just a program that was installed from generation to generation. And then the daddy was hooked on sugar. He died of diabetes at 58. The mom was hooked on sugar. The son was hooked on sugar. The son's son was hooked on sugar. And then they just killed themselves between age 50 and 58 and 59 somehow. And then they can pray about it. They can stretch and go do all kinds of things. But the truth is, there is a generational program that is in force that needs to be uncovered. Almost everyone I know who swore they will never have a second wife, who scorned their dad for having a second wife, who scorned their mom for leaving their marriage, almost all of them have found themselves struggling with the same thing, right? Somebody that I know very well when we were younger used to swear, I would never marry a second wife. My dad, he used to just scorn his dad, disrespect his dad for marrying a second wife. He doesn't have 2 wives now, but he has 5 girlfriends in different countries of the world, all of them with kids from him. Is worse than whatever he was criticizing. Because the things we criticize, if you don't label them as problems and not underrate how much of that influence we have received ourselves, we're going to find the same thing crawling into our own lives, and we reproduce that behavior so easily in our own dynasty. And it's so sad.
So how do we, Newton's law, what's that Newton's law of motion that says that an object remains, I think second law, don't judge me, an object remains at a certain speed until an equal and opposite action. So yes. I replicate the generations before me through my father, and then if I'm not careful, I'll hand it down to my kids. So how do we make up our minds? Because what we're really talking about is courage. Yes. We're talking about the courage to face this thing, recognize it, isolate it, and deal with it, right? How do I, number one, find the courage? Number two, there's this thing called sycophants. There are people that just come around you, and there's also self-deception. So you lie to yourself. You're talking about patterns. A pattern doesn't lie. All you have to do is just check the initial pattern, then you see that it's just organically going to replicate itself. But there are people that say, I want any problem. That boy is the problem. And every time somebody else is the problem, and you've missed out on 27 relationships all your life, but it's the next person you're pointing out to, So how do I put a structure around me to be able to listen to people? Number one. How do I, even if there's nobody around me, get to that place of consciousness where I say, I think I need a change? You know what I'm saying? I don't want to replicate this. I don't want these results to keep coming back into my life. So how do I,
I believe in protocols, and I always try to recommend solutions based on the most vulnerable people amongst us, because there's so many things I can deal with, but my talents, my exposure, and so many things allow me to do those things on my own. A lot of things that I deal with on my own, most people can't deal with on their own. And I say that with a lot of humility. It has taken a lot of experiences, failures, study, research, devotions, deep work at very high level for me to come to a place. And when I was growing up, my generation as a whole, growing up, we didn't have the privilege of mentoring. We didn't have the privilege of counseling. We didn't have professional counseling available like we know it today. Mentorship, life coaches, therapists like we know it today. We didn't have all of that. So you pretty much have to navigate your way and, fail through life and stumble into your greatest secrets or study your way into it, right? So that is how I grew up. But this generation does not need to suffer, because I'm one of the few that was able to get away with living your life, experimentally and strictly on the path of adventure. You know, some of our friends went with it, you know, because you don't have any clue of the outcome. You are walking a path without signposts, you know, and you are just going. And so the chances of getting to destination is so slim. And so many of us got it wrong. You know, a lot of us were shot, some went to jail, you know, some of us were so disappointed, some committed suicide, you know, some struggle with nervous breakdown. You know, people deal with all kinds of things, right, in my generation. Yeah. And so when I look at young people today, I said, wow, these guys are so blessed, because now you have, you know, therapists everywhere. You've got, you know, coaches everywhere. You've got mentors everywhere. You know, I didn't hear the word mentor until I was 26. I didn't hear the word mentor. I didn't even know the word existed in life until I was 26. Until today, you know, if you ask me to point to mentors, I'm just going to keep struggling. You know, I have people that I respect, people that I honor, but that meaning of mentoring, that walking, talking relationship with a mentor, I really don't have it. You know, and not because I don't want to have it, but because it's almost true. At 50 something, who do I build? You know, except God sends me some. I mean, so I deal with a lot there. So when I tell young people, I say that, you know, you face your life, you've got so many options around you that can form a support system. But earlier than that, much more critical than that, is for you to build a protocol of recognition around you, right? And what I mean by that is, from time to time, maybe quarterly, maybe twice a year, you want to sit down, maybe at some milestones like going into a new year, right? You want to sit down and say, these results I am getting, is this what I want to be getting? In the wealth of my personal peace, you know, in the size of my pocket, in terms of how much money I have, you know, in the wealth of my relationships, the quality relationship that I have, you know, whatever it is this the life that I want?
And what is my contribution to this outcome?
Yeah, you know, so the beginning of that is to say, no, this is not the life that I want. So once you identify that, the next thing is, so I need help. Why has this problem persisted? Why have I not solved it? If I have all that it takes to solve this problem, will it be here? You know, and then this has been here for how long? I'm now so age, and this is not the outcome I want. This is not the life that I want. So what do I need to do? What you need to do in that moment is to accept that your next peace, your next power, your next influence, and all of the breakthroughs that you so need in your life are not necessarily in you or all in you at that time. And it's not weakness, it's power and courage to be able to come into that moment. The next thing then is, who do I need to talk to? Because it's easy to say, what role am I playing? That's a very difficult question to answer alone, because of the arrogance of bias.
Yeah.
You know, it's so difficult to pray to God about what you like and say, God, should I, you know, you like something,
you already
want it,
like it, yeah.
You know, you now say, God, should I get it? Of course, you are going to hear get it, and you're hearing yourself. So how do you not get prejudiced on your own part and begin to self-sabotage yourself, right? So the moment you recognize the problem, you actually from that point need to speak to someone. And I always say that don't get into a problem to look for who you should speak to. You know, you should be on a permanent hiring project to build your war room. And your war room you will be blessed in this life to have more than 3 people in that war room. You will be blessed. You know, usually you will not have more than 1 or 2. Tops 3 people who can, one, watch you naked and not lose an ounce of respect for you.
Talking of
see
naked.
You completely naked, defenseless, vulnerable, see you on your worst day, in your worst moment, and isolate what is going wrong from who is experiencing it, right? So somebody can do the most foolish thing, but respect, if you love that person, love and respect demands that you isolate the action from the person. So this is the person, this is the action this person is taking, you know, but the person taking that action is not that action. There are so many things that are reproducing that action. When the child goes to jail, that child is representing so many people that should go to jail with that child, including those who put up a billboard that suggested things to him, including teachers, parents, movies, actors in Hollywood. Nobody goes to jail alone. The action was created by so many people, sorry, but he goes to jail alone. He is the representative of so many people who deserve to be in that jail, but he's going to go alone, right?
But doesn't he have a choice though? Because you could expose me to something, and this is where the power of choice comes in. Because if you expose me to something, I have the willpower to choose whether I would let this Hollywood movie determine the trajectory of my life or not.
If you have the clarity to deploy that willpower, because it takes willpower to do anything, even to destroy your life. You have to send all of your will in a negative direction, right? So the willpower is like a knife in your hand. It can cut apples or it can cut your neck, but it's a knife in your hand. So willpower is just an instrument in your hand. Clarity must precede the deployment of will, because to be a successful criminal, you need willpower. To be a change maker in the world, you need willpower. So you need willpower to do the most stupid things and to do the most meaningful things. You need willpower. So clarity has to precede that. Now, that clarity is where we lose the game, because if you have that clarity, maybe you wouldn't even be in that situation in the first place. So understanding that I need help, the next action is I need to talk to somebody. But you can't talk to just anyone, because like I said, you need to have people in your life who can see you naked and not lose love or respect for you. Most people cannot do that. Some people who even claim to be your supporters, you are just a phenomenal to them. In other words, you are so much of a lot, they cannot explain the value that you represent, but they don't like you. It means that on your worst day, you will see their evil come against you and you won't believe it, right? Because what is driving them is not love. So there are three levels of envy. The most popular form of envy is what I call popular envy, which is, I don't like you. I don't want you to have what you have, Bouquis. I don't like what you have. I'm not happy that you got a Harvard, experience. I'm not happy that you got a PhD. I'm not happy, yeah. I'm not happy you got a Harvard experience. I'm not happy you got a PhD. I'm not happy that you live in America. I'm not happy at all of this. I don't want you to have it. That kind of energy, you will spot it from a distance, because it will show in the person's face, it will show in the person's words, it will show that this is an adversary who doesn't want the best for you. But there is strategic envy, and that one is most lethal. Strategic envy says, I'm happy you got your Harvard experience. I'm happy you got your PhD. I'm happy that you are who you are. I'm happy you do all that you do. I'm happy you are a public figure. You are known across the world. I'm happy, Bouquis, that you have all of that. I celebrate you, and I mean it, and he means it. It's just that I don't understand why I don't have it. You see? So that one can be your best friend, because what he has against you will never show in his words or in his appearance, because outwardly he's happy for you, but he's dealing with another narrative inside of him. I'm happy you have it. I don't just understand why I don't have it. The first one says, I'm not happy you have it. I don't want you to have it.
That you can recognize easily. You can recognize that one easily.
Yes, and deal with that one easily. But people like Judas, people like Brutus, who betrayed Julius Caesar, that is strategic envy. Because they'll be so close, they can be on the same table with you. It can be your mom, it can be your dad, it can be your husband, it can be your pastor, it can be your best friend, it can be your PA, it can be anyone, right? The moment that person is cracked within and is struggling with a bent reality that he has not put in perspective, he can deal, he can accept you in your weight and in your power. He just doesn't understand why that is not happening to him. And the damage value of that, the lethal value of that, is even more deadly than that of the enemy that you can see out there, right? So how then do you deal with people like that? So you need to be very selective to choose your war room. Your war room is people who can see you naked. Otherwise, you won't need them, because your day of nakedness will always come, no matter who you are. Whether you are Barack Obama, you are going to die in somebody's hands, no matter who you are. You have to be in somebody's hand, so you will trust somebody. Your day of vulnerability, your day of defenselessness will come. And on that day, you need people like that around you. Again, you need people who take pleasure in your progress. Your progress is pleasurable to them. They enjoy to see you progress. You need those people in your life. But most critically, you need those people spiritual enough to sit in your reality. Yeah, to discern and to sit in your reality. You need those people experienced enough not to be moved by the weight of your own experience, right? You don't need to go to somebody and say, oh, I've done this. I say, you've done. He can't even imagine that being done. He's old. It doesn't mean he's experienced. You see? So a pastor I know somewhere in the inner city, somewhere in Nigeria, used to tell me that.
Don't forget the third level of envy.
Yes. Used to tell me that, politicians come to their church a lot, and they give, but they don't stay. They just come, they just come for programs. They will bless him, but they don't stay in the church and all of that. So it came from, we were discussing and we were strategizing church growth. And then by the time I broke down his system, I realized that he's in the university community. All his pastors are students, 200 level students, 400 level students, 100 level students, second year students, third year students, and then politicians who are doing, some of them do some of the most unimaginable level of, it's unimaginable. You want him to come and sit in front of a student and say, I did this yesterday. Or, God, I killed someone, or I did this, or I took this decision, or I stole this. I'm struggling with my conscience. The guy will just die. He will just, you did what? And just, because he can't even handle that moment himself. So, but they can trust you because you have the capacity. That is why your leaders cannot stay. Because that's why those kings cannot stay in your boat. Because every time they come, they see those kids, and those kids cannot deal with their reality except you. So they will never stay to work with you. They will just come, visit, and go, call you for counseling, talk to you one-on-one, but they can't deal with these young people. You see what I'm saying? So capacity is critical. You need people with the experience. So see, you tell them, I've just shot 2 people. They will say, wow. So what are we going to do now?
Yeah. You shot 2 people, 911. No, Daddy, don't call 911.
So, and that does not mean that the police will not come into the situation and all of that, but they are ready to sit you in that moment.
And sit with you.
Yeah, sit with you, be in your mind, and create a war room to support you through that journey. Because if you are ever going to lose in that journey, it's not because of what you are going through. It will be because of your response to everything coming at you. So situations don't take people down. It's their interpretation of the situation that take people down. And that is, even in neurology, people will tell you that your fear and your interpretation of that situation is more dangerous than whatever it is you are going through. So even if you are going through nothing, your interpretation can make it the biggest thing in the world. And you can be going through the biggest thing in the world and your interpretation can make it look like nothing, right? So you need those kind of people in your war room, right? And the third one is you need people who are professionally, positioned, either within their own mind or in their phone. They must have people they can call for you, or they have that capacity within them.
Yeah.
And if they don't have it, they have it in their network. You need those people in your war room. Also know that all of those people too are not the instructions of your destiny. The goal of those associations is to broaden the options on your wisdom table, is to broaden the options. You are still going to call the shot, right? Because that is freedom, right? You don't, in the name of mentoring, you don't become another slave, right? So the best advice is to expand the quality and the wealth of your table. The final call is still yours, right? And so when you have those kind of people, and somebody may now call a therapist for you right there. Somebody may now call if you have a lot of money you are dealing with, somebody may know a CPA who's going to help you through this, debt crisis you are dealing with, and say, don't worry, he will stand with you. Oh, I know a bank manager. Well, they can sort you out with this. They can give you a payment plan, but you need those kind of people. But when it comes to behavior governance, you then need the right people who have that professional ability, is a skill to listen to you, to interpret it, to offer you the guidance and the instructions and the intervention that you need. But all of that will be supplied within those relationships. But what nobody can do for you is the humility and the courage alone in your deepest tranquility, in that time, your deepest solitude when no one is there. You need to be able to look at yourself and say, this is not the outcome I want to be having. This is not how I want to live my life. Now, nobody can tell you that. You know your dreams. You know your aspirations. You know what you want. Don't let anybody fool you. You know how people plan events? They want 200 people in the event, and then at the end of the day, they have 20 people in the event. They now ignore their negligence and their lack of thoroughness and their unguardedness in managing the event. They now say, oh, it's the, all things work together for good. God must have a reason. Nonsense. So you need to be.
Devil.
Yeah, it's the devil. You need to tell yourself, look, this is not the outcome I want. It's fine that I face this outcome. I shouldn't face it again. So what do I need to do to attack this? That is where your wisdom room then starts. And you may need to end in front of a therapist. You may end in front of a pastor. You may end in front of a doctor. You may end in front of a dating website. You may end in front of a financial guru, a CPA. You may end in front of your bank manager. Whatever it is, in whatever direction, you need to be able to take that first step to say, this is not how I want to live my life, right? I do that every 90 days, Bouquis, every 90 days. I take time out, 1 week out, where I ask myself, is this fine? Everything I said I wanted to do, am I doing it? Is this the outcome I want? Everything I subscribed to in the last 90 days, are they working? Even a staff that I hired, am I getting the right result that I want? Otherwise, I need to sit down with this person and have a conversation, right? So I audit everything. People always ask me, why do you change your website so often? Why do you change this? Why do you change that? I said, because change is the only constant thing in life. And I'm not afraid to disrupt myself. I'm not afraid. So I always sit down to say, what are the people gaps I'm missing? What are the geography, location gaps I'm missing? What are the moments I'm not prioritizing? What are the people I'm not putting premium on? What are the people I am putting premium on I should not put premium on? Yeah.
I have a question.
Yes,
So
please.
I can say that if I can't summarize everything you're saying, I don't have that capacity. But there are three, I do understand that there are three levels of relationship, right? And they're like the 3 C's: the comrade, the constituent, and the what's the next C? Confidant. So the confidant is what you described as someone that is in your corner, someone that will have your back through thick and thin, right? They have you not because of what you have, but because of who you are, and that's the first level. And if you have just one of that in your life till you have immense wealth, if you have just one. The second one is the comrade, right? And the comrade is someone going your way. So I'm fighting. Oh, you two, you hate Bouquis. Me too, I hate Bouquis. So we don't really,
resonance.
we're not really friends.
You're defined by resonance.
Where we unite because we have a common enemy that we can take down. We want to take down. And I'll tell you the differences between all these relationships. The third one is the constituents, that your mates and then but because only God can read people's hearts. You can't read my heart as I'm sitting here. Do you understand what I'm saying? I can't read yours. I can tell by your actions if you care or whatever, but I can't tell your motive, right? So if all these relationships have the same commonality, because if I want to be in a relationship with you, whatever is driving me, it could be hate, envy, trying to take your crown, trying to stab you in the back or whatever. The way, the texture, the characteristic is I call you up. Hey, you want to hang out? How you doing? Have you eaten? I care for you, regardless of my motive, right? So how will someone, because you've talked about this 3 levels, you didn't tell us the 3rd level of envy, though. You told us about someone who hates.
It's contented envy. Contented envy says that I don't mind all I don't have. It's okay if I don't ever have all I want, as long as nobody else have it. So that is where, that's communism. That's where communism came from. It's mutual pain. It's mutual pain. You see, so I'm not necessarily, I don't want to progress. It's fine by me if I don't progress, but nobody else should progress.
Yeah, no,
as long as all of us are not progressing. So it's mutual pain, mutual suffering. Once we have that common experience of lowness and smallness, I am fine. So a lot of artisans back home, that's where they are. That's where they are. A lot of informal, roles back home, that's where they are. They are not really trying to progress. They're just keeping everybody, they're just looking for mutual comfort in their lowliness, right? That is the spirit of communism, socialism. That is the spirit. The idea that regardless of efforts, regardless of the investment of time and energy, our results should be common to each other. We should have a mutual experience on some balance of outcome, regardless of investment of time. So it doesn't matter how low I am. It doesn't matter how foolish I am. Contented envy says, I don't mind my state as long as nobody is in a higher state. So I'm fine.
I think that's the most, I can try to understand, even though there's no excuse for any type of wrong behavior, I can try to understand envy as in the shape of, you have it, man, why can't it be me, man? It's not right, but I can understand that. But the moment you go to the level of, me, I don't want to, but you will not enjoy it. I think that's pure evil. Because you see, that first second envy that comes to you, why can't it be me? It can generate two reactions from you. You can say, I'm going to work hard and get that car. I don't have to pull you down. I will find my way and get a car. That's a positive way to look at that situation.
So at that point, it's no longer envy, because the difference between jealousy and envy, because jealousy is positive, it's quite positive. If you have a husband, who doesn't care how many people are touching you and is not jealous for you, you should be worried, right? You should be worried. So when God says that I'm a jealous God, it's not wrong to be jealous. Jealousy is intense protection and premium of what is rightfully yours. Envy is intense premium on what is not rightfully yours. It's intense energy on what is not rightfully yours. You are placing a premium on what is not rightfully yours. Jealousy is you are placing the same premium on what is rightfully yours. So God can be jealous, right? Your husband can be jealous for you. Your wife can be jealous for you. It's fine. In fact, if they are not jealous for you, you should be worried, right? Envy is all of that intensity in what is not yours. So the gentleman who feel that is inspiration. I look at BOUQUI'S life. I love it. Yes. I love everything she's doing, and I think I can have that as well. Now, the goal of that, what that does is it sends me back to me. I see you, and you send me back to me to work on myself. The difference is in strategic envy is I see you, and instead of working on myself, I begin to work on you, right? Because I don't know why I don't have it, so go have it. No, I don't know why I don't have it, so I'm going to disturb you from having it, to keep having it, because I don't understand why I don't have it. Then contented envy. Contentment is great, but contented envy, contentment says, I'm content with what I have.
I'm good.
I have only 1% of this thing. It doesn't bother me who has 99%. My 1% is fine by me. Contented envy says, I have this 1% and I'm fine with this 1%. But I don't understand why anybody else should have 99%. So I'm going to go out to get everybody back on 1%. And that is why we have the poor in this life. I'm sorry, but that is what they call the masses. That is where most people lose the game, because they are able to define their need clearly. They are even able to accept their own status clearly, but they are never clear enough about the level of work they have to do to change their position if they have any desire to do that. Instead, they begin to point fingers at the government, they point fingers at rich people, they begin to put everybody down, they begin to seek a comfort in something they cannot be responsible for, like communism, and now says that it doesn't matter how much work I do, if you have 4 children and I have 2, you will have a bigger house than me. Just because I have 2 kids and I'm the most hardworking guy, you have a bigger house to deal with your 4 children. You know, all this kind of nonsense. And we are seeking a balance of power that we have not contributed to. You see what I'm saying? So that becomes a problem and that is why the masses are always weak, right?
Oh, okay, so back to my question now. So if all these relationship styles have that common ground of I check up on you, I'm giving you stuff, I'm calling you up to say, so what are you doing? My mom will say, don't tell your secrets to anybody until you finish. You saw, I did a post yesterday. I did this neurology. I did it in Yale. I did all these universities. I did not tell anybody when I started everything until I finished, right? Because that's my programming, you know. But my question is, how do you now tell the difference? Because only God can read the motive, right? So how do I tell that your envy is to destroy me? How can I, with my natural eyes or maybe my instincts, how can I decipher that your motives might not be right? Are there things that you could do that?
Oh, yes.
Okay, go ahead.
Yes. So first of all, I have 2 works. I have 2 podcasts that are on sale on my e-commerce platform. One is called The Green Enemy. The Green Enemy, and that is an expose I did on envy and how to track it. The second one is on strangers. The title is what's the title again? Too Close, Too Far.
Can you tell us the name so that someone can write it down? We can go check it out.
Yeah, the one is The Green Enemy.
The Green
Enemy.
What
the
platform?
second one, yes, the second one is Too Close, Too Far. And that one is talking about who a stranger is. And I'm going to come to that. But on the platform is Learn, Learn, learn.kennethsorianstore.com. Learn.kennethsorianstore.com, right? If you go there, you find those 2 works there. Now, there is, first of all, we need to define who a stranger is, Bouquis. So a stranger is not somebody you are meeting for the first time. And I always tell people, if you understand this thing, it's going to be very difficult for you to be cheated or taken for granted. In those 2 works, I did a thorough expose on how to capture these things and how to, manage them and keep them at arm's length and discern them clearly, no matter who you are, whether you are Christian, Muslim, anyway, those principles work for you. Now, a stranger is anyone, dad, mom, pastor, friend, imam, priest, best friend, roommate, classmate, siblings, best friend, whatever. Anyone you cannot vouch for their personal integrity is a stranger to you.
Wow.
Anyone, no matter who they are. Once you cannot vouch for their personal integrity, they are strangers. Now, a stranger is not necessarily an enemy yet. And a stranger may be your best ally. But until you can prove its integrity, then you have to keep that person at arm's length, right? It means that, you know how the Bible says that Jesus knew all men? He wasn't giving himself to any, right? So we have to let people qualify for the investment of our time and our energy. We have to let people qualify for it. I always tell people that excesses must be earned. Excesses must be earned. For you to come and hit my head and you are joking with me, you are going to end that, bro. You just don't come and say, you met me yesterday, you are hitting my head. No, that is, I'm already asking myself, what did I do wrong? How are you able to do that? You actually have to, and I tell people, when people come around you, though you are one person, they should feel like there are beings around you. Your principles should be breathing all around you, that people just self-caution. and put themselves together because you are not saying anything. It's just the way you,
your aura.
It's just the, yeah, it's just the way you show.
Did you know the word aura in Greek or Hebrew, I forget now, is anointing, charis, your presence.
Wow.
Like, yeah, it's
can you imagine?
the charis, like when you come
I didn't know that.
your aura, you know, your aura.
Yeah. Because thoughts have a presence. Belief has a presence. Conviction has a presence. Freedom has a presence. Love has a presence. Hate has a presence. And so even if you don't say anything, people can feel the presence of those things.
Energy.
Honor has a presence. Dignity has a presence. People just come around you and they just see you, they just act statemently in front of you. It's just all of what is happening inside of you radiates energy, and it resonates and, you know, connect, and people can relate without any verbal, you know, these are non-verbal cues, but they are connecting and you are arresting that environment. So I always tell people to, you pay attention to yourself, but away from that now. First thing is, you don't trust those things. The guy who beheaded his wife, the first time they met each other, she didn't go to her and said, I love you with a slap. I love you. And she also responded with a blow. Me too. And he said, can we go out? You know, took her head and give her elbow. You are mad. I believe in you. Can we date? Can we go out for lunch? Drop kick. You know, when can I see you next week? With a kick or a no. Everything began with dinners, with flowers, with roses. Can you imagine that everyone that is dead in their marriage, that marriage began with an incredible season of bliss? Can you imagine that every relationship that went sour, whether it's business or it's marriage or it's divorce, whatever it is, all of those relationships began with a season of bliss. So I always say, why do you trust that season then? Why do you prioritize that season? Because that season obviously has proven himself to be the same path. So I say that attraction is the beginning of lust, is the beginning of love. So you just can't trust it because, you know, you'll be attracted whichever way. When two parts who are designed to be in assignment with each other meet each other, they gravitate. So the female organ and everything that defines it and that of the man are partners in assignment. Just because they are human, not because they have any business together. Just because they are human. So there's a gravitation, right? Just because of that common experience of the female organ and the male organ, and the female body and the female sexuality and the male sexuality, they just call each other, right? So you don't want to get carried away or get locked in that. And I always say this to people too, Bouquis. If you meet somebody that is your peer and you meet her or him, and destiny has designed that 11 years from now, he's going to make a call that will put you into the United Nations. 11 years from now, that is what is written of you. The reason why you are meeting this guy today is whatever is going to happen between 9 and 11 years. The main reason why you are meeting is going to show up 11 years from now. Everything between 9 and 11 years is preamble. And God help you that you don't gas it up and you don't blow it up in 11 years. Guess what? When you meet each other, because you are from the opposite sex, you are going to feel each other sexually.
Let me tell you my story. Let me just give you a little story to buttress that. When I really started all this love thing late, right? But when I was in high school, I had a crush, right? And it was like a puppy love, you know, like, stop it, John, leave me alone and stuff like that, you know. And then when we left school, we went to high school. Yes, we went to high school. But as we were old enough at 14, 15 to start talking and realizing they took him away. His parents took him to another school. And then when he came back, we were supposed to go to the same jam lesson or something. His friends took him away. When we got to university, something happened. I traveled and stuff like that. And now we joke about it because this man is one of the most important people in my life right now. He's married with kids. But the enemy, well, don't let me go into that enemy, but it would have been messed up if, so I think I bless God for the fact that sometimes when I want to make a mistake, God is like, sit down, my friend. Do you understand?
Yeah.
So right now with my career, editing, anything I'm doing, I don't know how to build this website. I just call him anytime. No, just do it like this. But if we had messed up, we probably would not have been able.
You not even be talking.
Yeah.
Just because you are partner, that's not what everybody feel for each other. But because you are partners in assignment, there's something awesome ahead. There is a gravitation you are going to feel now. And if you are not matured and you don't interpret that intelligently, you will crash it. You will just limit it to sex, touching each other, and that will happen. Then you get hurt, and then guess what? 11 years from now, you are still going. That day is going to come. He's going to be the one on the call, except that he's not making the call for you. You won't even be able to ask him to make the call. He won't even know you need the call, but he's the one on the call. You won't even be seeing each other to even know you need him to make that call. Maybe if you can know that he needs to make that call for you, he will still make it. That's why your history of pain. But he won't even see you. Just imagine that Barack Obama was in your class.
Let me see who are the people in my class I'm playing.
Just imagine that he was in your class. Just imagine that you bullied him. You did all kinds of things in your power or whatever it was. He's US president now. So I always tell people, be cautious because everything and everyone is the same until destiny happens. Everything and everyone is the same, looks the same. There's an ordinariness that is the garment over destiny.
PK, you cannot just drop these bombs and just think that you can go like that. There's an ordinariness that covers destiny.
Destiny, yes.
So break that down, because I want you to also hone in on discipline, because there's so many things that, like my experience, if I wasn't and it has happened a lot of times, if I wasn't a disciplined girl, my book that just came out, I've been celibate for close to 10 years, you know, and I'm seeing some fruits of the relationships that could have potentially happened and I'm seeing them now working in great levels. Like some of them even recommend me, like, you know what, that is a very disciplined girl. And I'm not trying to blow my horns.
Yes.
I have other weaknesses.
I'm
saying that, so what is the role of discipline? And then talk about this garment, this ordinariness that just covers destiny. Yeah.
There's an ordinariness that is the garment over destiny. And your job at every point in time, particularly once you are 18. And guess what I'm teaching parents in my lecture rooms now? I'm teaching parents to help kids to understand this before they are 18, so that they don't get unguarded with how they deal with their relationships. Because that is everything. Life is only three things, no matter who you are: people, places, and events. The people you gave access to, those you denied access. And the way you manage the people you gave access to. And the way you even manage the people you close doors on, right? The environments you allowed yourself to see, the ones you refused to see, and how you conducted yourself in those that you saw. The premium you place on your moments, and the type of attention you gave in that moment, and how present you were in those moments. That's life out there. The size of your pocket, the weight of your legacy, you know, the wealth of your peace at twilight, at 70 or 80, is proportional to how you deal with those three things. And everything awesome in the future, every time, Bouquis, are covered in an ordinariness today. That is why you see that the president of the world, Bin Laden, for example, as evil as he was just an ordinary kid at some point. Ordinary kid on the street. Ordinariness. Yet, that is the man that is going to be responsible for the death of thousands of people. Adolf Hitler was just an ordinary guy. Just an ordinary guy. But in that ordinariness, do you know what happened to Adolf Hitler one time? Adolf Hitler was in a garrison with all of his soldier colleagues, and he just felt within himself to step out. He just felt, I should step out of this building. He stepped out of the building. Less than a minute after he stepped out, a bomb landed on that building and killed everybody inside. True life story. It's documented in his history. And I said to myself, Adolf Hitler should have just died there. The bigger question is, what saved him? Who saved him? Who saved Adolf Hitler? He just went out of the building and everybody died, except Adolf Hitler, who went on to kill 6 million Jews and fought and led an entire world war. If he had died there, maybe 6 million Jews would have been saved. Who saved him? That's another symposium discussion, because
wait. What did you come up with an answer?
Of course.
So who
because that is the resonance of destiny that we are talking about. Because destiny has, listen, see, people always think destiny in terms of positivity or negativity. Destiny is not a content. It's a destination guided by your clarity and your choice. But what is written of you is the expanded version of that experience. For example, greatness. Greatness is your destiny. Now, you can be great as the biggest criminal in the world that everybody is talking about, or you're going to be great as the greatest giver in the whole world. But greatness is your journey. Whether you like it or not, you're not going to be ordinary in this life. You're not going to be just anyone. You're not going to just end up in one corner, and you never happen. You are going to happen. But your happening can multiply pain that the world will never recover from. I always tell some people that, there are some kids I meet. I tell their parents, I say, this boy is either going to rise with a Nobel Prize or end up in jail. It's one of the two. It's one of the two. This is not just an ordinary kid. This is a kid that is going to either end up in jail.
There's notoriety. Yeah.
You understand? What is on this guy is not going to be ordinary. This guy is not going to just happen. This guy is going to be on the extreme side of one of those sides of life. Either on the extreme of the negativity of life, on the extreme of the positivity. The onus is on you, dad and mom, to be present in his first 18 years. May God help you, because this is what is on this guy. So this ordinariness is on everything awesome in the future. Kids and young people have to learn to uncover that garment and begin to see the deeper. So what that means is one-on-one. You don't just make enemies anyhow. Keep your relationship. That's where discipline comes in, right? Self-control is important. But this is what I even say. Because we are kids, we don't make mistakes. Wrong judgment, spontaneity that is wrongly applied, instincts undefined. We get it wrong, right? Even the best part of your wisdom part of your brain is not even developed fully until you are 21. So you are going to struggle, and God help you that you don't mess everything up before you get to that place of clarity. And some never do. But I always tell people, even when things go wrong, be careful how you shut doors, because you may need to return through that door tomorrow. So even if things go wrong, okay, so you now meet somebody that's of your destiny, you're not supposed to sleep together. You're supposed to be good friends because there's awesomeness ahead of you. For some reasons, you guys started sleeping together. You guys started doing stuff. That is still not the end. In that relationship, even if that was happening, do that with still your humanity, the kindness in that relationship, that the person deserves, regardless of what is going on between you. No matter how much you are fighting somebody, he doesn't make you a lion. You are still human. And so even if you are breaking up in that relationship, break up as a human being. The ingredients that define a human being, bring all of that into that exchange, including love and respect. I found that most people don't fight you because of what you did. They fight you either because they were sure they were not heard, or they were sure that you don't care.
You know what my dad will say, that people don't remember what you say to them or you said to them, but they will never forget how you make them feel. That's it.
And I always say, take responsibility for how you make people feel. No matter what brought you to that point, no matter how vicious it is, no matter the level of seriousness change or leisure, whatever it is, own how you make people feel. You will not always get it right. What will bring them to a point of conflict? Because you are a human being, you will get things wrong. But once you are in that space and things are wrong already, and emotions are flying, people are upset and angry, be careful how you shut that door. You will be stunned that you will need to go through that door 8 years from now. Or your son may need to walk through that. You will see somebody in an office who you know that, this guy was my, if I can just see him, this guy can change all I'm going through right now, but you can't. And you will live 1,000 years twice and you will never.
Okay, so how about this scenario? Narcissism. You know, narcissists can be really, they are detrimental to your health, right? How do you shut a door on a narcissist that is controlling, abusive, and they every time, like, I've never, like, if you're in a relationship, you read my book about the abuse and everything, right? There's a, by the way, you guys, go get my book.
Yes.
So I'm looking for it. And then buy stars now. Buy stars. You guys buy stars and go buy my book. BOUQUI'S.com. B.o.u.q.u.i.
Yes.
BOUQUI'S.com. Okay. So a narcissist, right? When a narcissist, when you're, you know how their character, when you decide to leave, then they start saying, after everything I did for you, and then they put you in this cycle of abuse by guilt trips and stuff like that. And you're there, you're like, okay, you know, how do you, because I'm trying to ask, because I don't know if they're, you know, like, you know.
I get it.
You know what I'm saying? Because
I get it.
For narcissists, right, what you have to, like, in my case, I ran away. Guys, newsflash. I carried my bag. I ran away, blocked him on social media, because of the mental torture. And it doesn't matter how strong you think you are mentally, because I'm a pretty strong girl. Like, not that one, but you know, but when you expose yourself to manipulation and lies and gaslighting, and you're sitting down saying, oh, maybe I should have done better. Maybe I shouldn't have spoken. I mean, that's not a balanced relationship. So how do you shut the door in such a way that you're explaining that you know, you have to shut the door in such a way, because you may, like a bridge, you have to, you know, you may have to climb back. But in my opinion, I think that for narcissists, let me not give my opinion. How do you think you can shut the door?
I hear you thoroughly. So part of that is that, despite all that has been said, that is the general rule.
The exceptions to the rule. Okay.
Yes, there's exception to every rule, right? The exception to this is that God will also not put your miracle beyond your reach. Neither will God put your miracle in the hand of your adversary. And the way it is people mess up, they do you evil, and then you have to save your life, right? And then they will tell you stuff like, you know, I will get you. They're not even letting you just go. They are saying, I'm still coming for you. I will get you. You will see the future. You know, and they will do stuff like that. But the universe doesn't tolerate that. The universe doesn't compensate that. Now, I always say that if someone offends you and you are standing on your equity and on your fairness,
integrity,
yes, and on your integrity and decency, and that is the reason for your position, it will never happen that tomorrow will come and you will be at his mercy. The universe does not compensate that. The universe compensates when you are unguarded and you are the one, so you are the one playing that other role. You are in a relationship, or maybe you're not even playing that role. It's not like you are dealing with some evil person or some wicked person. Two people who are unguarded in their moments and messed things up. They fought, they got angry. This person is not evil, it's just being stupid in that moment. Or this one is just being, you know, ignorant or naive in that moment, and then you had a problem. Try to bring that. It doesn't mean you are going to be buddies and jumping around forever, but bring that thing to some close. You may take a break, you may come back 3 months after to seek redress or to, you know, establish that peace, but you should establish that peace. Then there are adversaries. The adversaries who just define their own meaning by your own pain.
Suppression.
And if they don't take you down, they can't find their meaning. You know, that cannot be compensated by the universe. And when you walk away from that, be assured that the universe does not work in such a way that you are going to need that person ever. As a matter of fact, usually it's the other way around. It's that person who is coming back to realize
the
that
Joseph syndrome.
yes, that is going to happen. It's the other way around. So that is how the universe compensates that. In that kind of situation, it's actually the other way around, because he is the one that is shutting the door foolishly and wickedly. And so he's the one that is going to have to deal with that door in the future, not you. You are not the one that is shutting that door down. So running away from pain, of running away in the defense of your peace and your dignity, is not shutting the door down. It's either you run away or you die. It's either you run away or you lose your mind. It's either you run away or you lose ground or something. So that is a different ball game, right? But usually those are also exceptions. And those are exceptions you find in very serious, deep exchanges, like a parent-child relationship, like a business partnership, like a marriage situation, you know. But in the day-to-day experience of friendship, where our commitment to each other is mutual, I'm not bound to be in your life, you are not bound to be in my life, we find ourselves in a relationship, I'm not indebted to be in that relationship, I'm not your husband, I'm not your wife, we are just friends and good friends. Fight for that relationship. And fighting for it does not mean fight to keep it at the level it was, but fight to end it on a peaceful note where connection and value can still stream to each other in the future. That is wisdom.
Yeah. Oh, wow. That's endings are so important, and people don't know. People don't
Yeah.
recognize that. However, you said something. You said running away from pain. So in my book, I wrote this. I read this article about the codfish. The codfish, you know, was very popular back in the day. The codfish was popular on the East Coast in America. And, you know, it was on every menu. All the restaurants were serving it. And then people on the West, California, San Francisco, you know, California, all of them, they wanted the codfish. You know, so they were like, man, we can't wait to have the codfish. It's so popular on the East and everything. So they said that, okay, they devised the means of transporting the fish from the East to the West. So they put it in large freezers, right? But the fish were dead. They were all dead, so frozen, and they transported it to the West Coast. By the time they got to the West Coast, they cooked it. It had lost its distinct flavor and, you know, the texture that made it codfish, right? And so they were like, maybe we need to keep the fish alive. So they tried again. They moved it in large fish tank on a train. They moved them to California, to the West, you know, in trains. They were alive. They were swimming. By the time they got to California, they were still dead. They cooked them. They had lost the taste. It was the same results. So someone on the team now said, you know what? We've moved it dead. We've moved it alive. How about we introduce a catfish or catfish into the tank? Because you see, the catfish, they are natural predators of the codfish. So they said, okay, you know what? Let's try something, whatever. So they put catfish in the fish tanks, right? And, you know, by the time they got to the West Coast, the fish was exactly how it was on the East. And then they realized that, oh, wow, the fish needed something to chase it. Because you talked about running away from pain, and I'm trying to talk about perspectives now, because you know, it's how you really view this thing, right? Yeah. So the codfish retained its distinct flavor and texture because there was something that was keeping it on the run.
Yes.
How do we as human beings recognize that this, even if you remember Job, right? Job was in the, you know, God was like, look at my guy, Job. Help me do this thing for this guy. And, you know, he thankfully was wise enough or inspired enough to say, I'm not going to curse God like all of you guys are saying, you know. So how do we, you know, I think I've asked the question. You get the question.
It's two things. It's two things. The first thing is that.
Let me finish. I forgot. So how do we, you know, because running away from your pain is not the same thing as running towards a goal.
Yes.
They're two different things, running away
Yes.
and running towards. They may look like they are, but they are not the same. So how can we make our running away from pain the same, as in achieve the same result as running towards a goal? How do we convert that energy?
Yeah. So it's two things. The first thing is you always need your bracket of solitude and relief. You always need that. Because without that, you pretty much cannot do anything. You can't gain clarity. You can't find that, insight that you need. You will struggle under unnecessary pressure and cloud that are completely negative, because you are not designed to function at your best in that kind of environment. It's just too toxic for you to find your best self and curate your best moments in that kind of environment. So I always say again on another level that pain is a messenger. That's what pain is. If your hands are where they are supposed to be and you put your hands here at equilibrium, you don't feel any pain.
We can see your hands.
So how do I do that? So if your hands are here.
Okay.
So if your hands are where they are, it's at equilibrium. So you are completely free to you don't feel any pain, because that's where they are supposed to be. There's no pressure. If you bring your hands here, you don't feel pain immediately, even though your hands are wrongly positioned, which is why a wrong decision can still be preceded by a season of bliss. Though it's a wrong decision. Your hand should not be here. You put it here, but you don't feel any pain. Everything still looks good. Everything feels good. But when tested by time, and all the pressure begins to come, you begin to feel the pain. Because the pain in that moment is telling you something is wrong, make adjustment. Something is wrong, make adjustment. Make adjustment. I don't care what type of pain, whether it's business pain, financial pain, physical pain, marital pain, emotional pain, relationship pain, whatever the pain is, that pain is saying only two things. Something is wrong, make adjustment. Something is wrong, make adjustment. Now, if you take painkillers and pain relievers in that moment, you can still be offered temporary relief, but it's all going to fade. You will suffer relapse, and all the pain will be back worse, because all the time you were on the pain reliever, there was pain. You're not just feeling it. So by the time it wears off, it's a deeper pain than it was before you use the pain reliever, right?
Because the root was not addressed.
Exactly. You are cutting leaves. The tree is still intact. You don't want the tree, but you are cutting the leaves. The tree will still be there. Now, the moment you bring your hands back to equilibrium, where you're supposed to be, the pain doesn't go immediately, right? Now it begins to subside. So even where you are in the right place, it can still be surrounded by a season of pain and discomfort. It doesn't mean you are not in the right place. You are now back in the right place. You've made the right decision, but the residue of the seasons of wrong decision will still be around that right decision, but they are for a while and they have a sure expiry. Now, these are levels of intelligence you must have and clarity in all those situations. Now, if you keep it right there long enough, all the pain will subside completely and you are back to how you are designed to be. But that pain, anytime it comes, pain is telling you, I don't care whether it's irritation or frustration, it's just telling you something is wrong, make adjustment. Pain is God's voice. Pain is God's messenger. It's God's loop in the human condition, reminding you to make adjustment, make adjustment. However, you don't then stay in pain and be taking lollipop or be enjoying. You are supposed to receive, receive, judge, interpret, act. You are not supposed to feel pain, and you are supposed to receive that pain, yes, own it, interpret it. You have to judge it rather. You judge this pain, gain understanding, gain clarity of what it is, then interpret it. What does this mean? you know, and then let that interpretation lead to action, right? So, and the action, of course, must be preceded with decisions. Everything you call action is decision. If you don't make decisions and you are taking action, there's no sustainability and there's no longevity. Decision must precede action for there to be resolve and for there to be roots. There must be decision. You mess your life, you mess up your life by decisions. We fix it by decisions as well. You're going to take fresh decisions, right? Not just actions, right? So, however, when you are in a pressurized environment, Bouquis, that's a different ballgame. You are in a ring already. You are being boxed by a heavier, tougher adversary. Then he that fights and run away.
Live to fight.
We live to fight another day. The intelligence you need in that point is not to analyze that situation, because the punch is hitting you right there. And this person has the advantage over you, whatever that advantage is. It could be financial advantage. It could be whatever the advantage is. And it could be cultural advantage. It could be tradition. It could be anything. But he has an advantage over you, and you know that 1,000 years from now, if I don't live here, this advantage will continue. I got to respond to this. Then that is where you create what I call your bracket of relief. You must create that bracket of relief. Get away from that conflict, first of all, so that you create a zone that you can even think. You create a zone. Somebody was owing a lot of money and wasn't picking calls, and I said, no, you're not going to get out of it. I've owed before. And I said, this is not the way to fight. What we are going to do, you're going to call everybody. You need time to think. You will never get out of this crisis. You will never. You are just responding to those chasing. You will never think. You will be battling dead opportunities. You will never create new ones. I said, so call all of them to a room. We write letters to them, call our lawyer, go all of them into a room, and then let them know, look, this is your payment plan. But I need 1 year to think, to create, so that I can pay you. If what I'm doing is working, I will not pay you. I will not be owing you, rather. That I'm owing you is proof that what I'm doing right now is wrong. Something is wrong. So if you keep pumping me to bring something out of this situation, it's not going to work, because this situation created the debts in the first place. So I need to break newness. So I need space. So if you don't create that bracket of relief for yourself where nobody's calling you for the next 6 months, and you have to be honest. If it's 6 months you need, that's it. And you have to have a plan. If it's 1 year, you need to have that room so that you're not thinking because you want to avoid somebody arresting you tomorrow. You are not trying to make a decision in business to make money next week because you want to pay somebody. No. I need to make decisions for their value and for their meaning. And the only way to do that is to look at the adversaries in the eye, in quote, your debtors, go to them, lay your case before them. If you have 12 of them, maybe 8 will buy into you and say, okay, we'll give you 2 years, or we'll give you 1 year. Maybe 4 will say, no, we will fight, we need you now. Then you know you have 4 enemies. Then you are in a better place than dealing with 12 that you have not arrested. Now you've eliminated 8 who can wait for you. Then this one is a better nuisance. It's an easier nuisance to deal with just 4 out of 12 or 4 out of 18. So you start, I'm dealing with that scientifically like that. Okay, so you may need to get out of that conflict, and that is why I've never been afraid to get women into separation. I've never been afraid to do that. I've been criticized a lot for that. I've supported women in divorces. I've done that, and I'll say it anywhere, because it doesn't make sense to me. You are telling somebody to endure, but what is enduring is that today they cut a finger, next tomorrow 2 fingers. You are telling her to endure. I don't understand. She's bleeding. She's going to die. She needs to get out of that space first, come into a zone of relief where she can think, where she can have tranquility of soul, where she can have the free mind to look at that situation again and to understand that, hey, maybe this whole thing was an error. I've been bold to tell people that, look, when you marry this person, let's go there. Look, you know who you are now. There's so much that you are now you couldn't have figured out then. Now you are in a different place. You figure this thing out, and you are not trying to change the decision you have made. But this guy is not ready to accept you in where you are. He's not ready to accept you in the growth that you have experienced that you didn't put on yourself, in the new vistas that you have experienced. It's not your fault if he refuses to grow himself, and you're not trying to leave because you have grown. But he is saying you can't grow. And he's saying, I'm not going to accept your growth. That is a major problem. How do you negotiate that? The best way to negotiate that is the association. First, get into a zone where you can think clearly, and then you can manage this person and negotiate this commitment intelligently and properly, right? And then you can move from there. Yes, please.
So, and you know, Bouquis Space is about practical tools that people can use and resources, right? So what you're saying now for someone listening is, you know, the person abusing you will not necessarily say, I'm trying to suppress you. Don't you see, you know, don't you see that it's suppression I'm after? They will do things to belittle you. You start a business, they're like, you know, just little, like, just trying to talk down on your efforts and all that. However, this is my question, right? I had a situation where we literally carried this person out of an abusive relationship 3 times. She was the one who ran to us. He was beating her and everything. She ran to us. We got an apartment, locked her up, gave her food, not lock up, but you know, we just kept her there so that she can be safe. After 2 months or 2 months, she was like, I think it's my fault. This person didn't do this. Maybe if I keep quiet, maybe if I don't fight back, maybe no man sorrow you. I talk too much, you know, and everything. And then she went back. That was the first time. The second time it happened, you know. So the third time it happened. Unfortunately, the fourth time when we did it, you know, she passed on. You know what I'm saying? Wow. So yeah. So how do you get these people out of the cycle of abuse? Because it's mental, right? Because they're falling in love. It's like they're falling in love with their abductor. And so what do you think we can do to just break that?
So I think those people they need what I call first responders, and they need, you know, the actions of first responders. That action is not to rescue them from their abuser, it's to rescue them from themselves, because those people are already used to abusing themselves before any man came into their life or before any woman came into their life.
Talk about that. Talk about that first.
Yes. They already abuse themselves with experiences they've had in childhood, has beaten them into a mold where they take responsibility. You know, I said something the last time we were, because I was in that place. I was in that place because at the age of 3, I was in a boarding house. At the age of 3. And in the boarding house at the age of 3, that's wrong. At the age of 3, you should still be sucking love from the adults of your life in a home. You shouldn't be responding to, all you need at the age of 3 is toys. You know, you don't need regimentation. You need to get up in the morning. All of the discipline that comes with living in a boarding house alone with seniors.
Why were you in a boarding house at 3?
My mom took me there because the home was a polygamous home, I guess, and there's a lot of pressure there, which I think would have been better. And then she was extremely engaged herself, and so all her kids went to boarding house. She has 6 of them, and the whole 6, apart from one, all of them went to a boarding house. So we were all in the boarding house. But I went too early. I went at the age of 3, and I grew my flight or fight mode and reality in that environment, right? And I was 3, 99 everybody in school were stronger than me, bigger than me, you know, and I was small. My nickname was Atom. This is the smallest indivisible part of an element. I was small. So I was in secondary school at the age of 9. At the age of 9, I was already in Form 1. That's high school at the age of 9, right? So I was very young, and I was somehow bright enough to pass my exam. So I was just there. And I began to take responsibility. The way I interpreted it was, there's something wrong with me for them to put me here, because there was nobody to guide my understanding. I just believed, I was a kid, so I just believed there's something wrong with me. So I grew up in that environment, and then everybody in that environment, seniors, punish you for even your rights. You know, they take stuff from you. And so the messaging every day is there's something wrong with you. No matter what is going on, it's your fault. It's your fault. And as a young boy, I didn't see what was wrong there. I just lived through that experience. By the time I became an adult, first of all, I found my highest meaning amongst the boys. I didn't know how to find meaning in any how do I call it? Yeah, other maybe at home or smaller circles, or you know, I don't know how to find it. I don't know how to. So it was difficult whether you call it a home, marriage, all of that. They were all strange to me. I didn't even want to get married. I didn't even know the meaning. So I stayed out there, and whatever happens to me, if you slap me now, I'm going to say, what did I do wrong? You know, no matter what you did to me, I'm the first to blame. I left that environment believing that, you know, people cannot be mean to you except you did something to them. Because that is the regimentation that seniors gave. When you go to a body, almost everybody in the type of body house I went through had that kind of understanding. Because the seniors will come, wake you up at 10, at 2 a.m. to go and get water, and they will still make it look like it's your problem, you know, and they will look so normal, you know. And so I grew up in that environment like that. And as a man, I'm not even trained to watch out for such problems in my life as a man. Maybe women are easier to look for, you know, rejection or this, but as a guy, you know, nobody's even suggesting that to you. So it took me a long time to find out that it was almost impossible for anyone to do anything around me for me to not to think maybe I'm responsible for it. I must have done something wrong. But when I began to gain freedom was when I realized that, wow, you don't need to do anything to anybody for them to hate you. You don't actually, in fact, you can do everything right, and the hatred will come from the fact that you are doing everything right. So some people find it impossible to believe that they can be right. They just always believe that they are wrong. That is one level. They are dealing with a chronic depth of low self-esteem, that they always need validation, always pursuing validation from everybody, from anything. You know, some people are incapable of honest self-evaluation. They are incapable of it. They just can't sit down honestly and say, I think I was wise here. They can tell themselves, I think I'm a fool, I think I'm stupid, I think I'm mad, I think I'm prideful, I think I'm arrogant. They can never tell themselves, I think I'm humble. Some people cannot ascribe any positivity to themselves. They just can't do it. That's not just what they know. It's not what they are trying to do. It's like you have a sunglasses on that is brown, and everything you see in front of you takes a color brown, take a shade of brown. So because the glasses you have on gives everything that color, right? That's just the way it is. So that is where those people are. And when they get married, or they get into any relationship whatsoever, they need without freedom from themselves, because they are in the prison of themselves.
All right.
So no matter, you can get them out of the home, get them a flat, but they are still in prison. The prison had, in fact, I put an article out, Bouquis, and guys listening, look, if it's wrong to you, God help you, because I'm not asking for your forgiveness. But I put an article out some years ago called The Legitimacy of Oppression. The legitimacy of oppression. And the context was any environment that is filled with fear, ignorance, and opacity almost call for oppression. I'll give you an example. If you have 200 people around you that you can't predict their behavior negatively, they can bite you, or they can stab you, or you can't predict what they will do, and you have the power to control all of the things they will do, what are you going to do? You're going to control what they are doing. You're going to attempt to control what they are doing. So a lot of dictators are actually created by the ignorance and the fear and the opacity, you know, the learned helplessness that people demonstrate around you. You have to be at another level of consciousness not to oppress it. When people come and abandon themselves in front of you and pour weakness and naivety, you know, and powerlessness in front of you, there is a consciousness that must live inside of you for you to not oppress that and rather inspire it. You have to be a type of person. Now, most people are not that type of person. Now, this is what I say. Even in good people, the potential for evil on a grand scale exists, even in good people. So someone in sanity is guaranteed because of his perception of regulation and threat. So somebody may want to steal. If you take him to Lagos tomorrow, he can steal. He can, okay, let me not use that example. If you take him to Lagos tomorrow and he's pressed, he can stop by the finest building and quickly come by the wall and weed there. The same person put him in America. No matter how pressed he is going to hold it and find a reasonable place that he can weed. It's not just going to get down on the road and begin to weed. It's not that it's not capable of weeding anywhere. It's just that his perception of the threat here and the regulation, the possibility that you won't get away with this is there in his mind, right? So if you take Americans to Nigeria and bring Nigerians to America and create the same laws, the same enforcement, the same judiciary, the same leadership, just the masses, and give them 10 years, the Americans will begin to behave in ways you cannot believe it in Nigeria. And the Nigerians will be behaving in ways you cannot believe here. You will see people who will never queue in Nigeria. They will never queue. They get to America, they are queuing all day, every day, without even, it's not even an issue, they just queue. It's in them to do it. The environment does not place that demand on them where they are. And they don't have the consciousness or the maturity to self-regulate, to supply that which is within them without pressure or without demand or without threat. So somebody tells you that I can't, I'm weak, I'm tired, I cannot go out tonight, I'm so tired, somebody has to help me wash my clothes, I'm so weak, I'm useless, I can't do nothing. Then the same person, bless you, gets a gunshot by the window, boom, boom, or a snake just crawls to the sitting room. Will he sit down there? I'm so wow, so this is how I'm going to die. On a day I'm so tired, my body is so weak, look at the snake now coming, they are now shooting, so this is how I'm going to die. No, what is he going to do? He's going to bail. When he bails, will somebody go to him and say, take energy, run, I know you are tired? No,
you will find
the energy has been inside of him dormant. He needs a contrary situation to compel him to place a demand on that hitherto dormant energy. But the energy is there, right? So we can be in our state of restiveness or helplessness. It is not the absence of strength. It's not the absence of power. But this person is already defeated by a very vicious history that has given her or him a one-way, it's a program, like we were saying, a one-way perception to life, and all of the options are eliminated, right? So if you don't set that person free from himself, from his own jail, you know, is the prisoner, is the jailer, is the warder, and he's playing all that role. And so even if you offer that person freedom, it will still create that jail. You will open the doors wide and he will not leave the prison.
So how do you set someone free from a prison that only them have the keys?
Yeah, so it's clarity. It's to take them to where it started. Like we know now that every adult behavior is rooted in childhood experiences. That conclusion is made by every socialist, every psychologist, every psychotherapist, everybody has concluded that all adult behaviors are rooted in experiences in childhood. And so when you want to help people at that level, you practically have to take them to that place where it all began. You practically have to walk them back to that place and let them see that it's not who they are. It is who they have become. It is their conditioning and their program, and that they are different from that which they do, and that which they do is a creation of influences, and that they are self-made in that direction. It's not designed. And nature and nurture are two different things. This is what nurture has made of you. This is where nature kept you. And probably you've never met that person that you really are. And the last time you met that person was a second after you were born. By the time you were old enough to meet yourself, you're already compromised by the adults of your life and the influences they threw around you. So you never met yourself. Over 90% of people never meet themselves because the last time they were themselves, they were still kids and never met that person. By the time they were old enough to say, who am I? They never answer that question. The question they are answering is, who have I become? Though you ask them, who are you? They will never answer that question. The answer they are going to give you is the question they are answering is, who have you become? The question you are asking is, who are you? They can't answer the question because they never met that person. So over 90% of people never answer the question of who are you? They answer the question of who have you become because they never met themselves. And right there between their innocence to when they became victims, the preferences they started learning from the adults of their life that was converted to prejudices. It is in their prejudice state, which is the perfection of the influences, the opinions, and the views and the preferences of the adults of your life. The perfection of that is what forms your personality, not your temperament, because your personality is not natural. Your personality is created, it's invented. So that is who you are. So when you now sit down to say, who am I? Man, God help you with that question. So somebody has to take you back to the past and begin to show you that this behavior, this is where it began from. This is not you. This is how you think. So by the time he begins to see that this is not who I am, and he begins to understand who he is or who she is, that is when she stands a chance to hold on to her power and say no. The most powerful word in the world is no, not yes. Just like punishment, the ability to say yes is an embarrassment of nature. Any fool can say yes. To say no requires strength, right? Because no is not easy to say. Even for adults, it's tough to say no, right? So the freedom they begin to get is the power over their no. And to say, oh, my experiences are my architecture. I have the power to create that, right? So unless you heal that person of that, you put him in a mansion, you tell him this person is killing you and all of that, she's going to revert back to that weakness that she has defined as who she is, and that is the environment she knows. That relapse will take her back into that. She will make promises to herself. She will break as many as she has made because essentially she has not experienced that liberation. She's not liberated yet from herself, right? So before, I told the mom before, I said, before your daughter went into that home, you made her into a subservient instrument. You trained a subservient girl. I'm sorry, ma'am. I said, but before she ever went into that home, that husband has to be a super philosophical man, not to oppress your daughter. Your daughter calls for oppression. She, in the way she talks, the way she handles herself, she's saying, oppress me, oppress me. Even her looks says, oppress me. Her look says, somebody should oppress me. I need oppression. That's all she's saying. Every day her husband looks at her, what she sees is, slap me, push me now. Why don't you just pinch me small, punch me a little bit? And this is not trying to validate the monster doing that. I'm not doing that. But at times there's resonance. And let's face it, there's resonance.
Love resonance.
Yes, there's resonance.
Can you break, just hold that word thought. Can you break it down? Because you see, words are words, right? And they create imagery in our minds. But I really like it when we can relate it. So somebody hearing now, I know no person watching is dumb, but so you're saying that a girl is crying for beat me. In what way can that be? Could it be their attitude or the way they talk about what just break that
down? So it could be anything. It could be just sheer powerlessness. Bullies
they thrive
are not people. They are not people who think they are stronger than you. They are not people who think they are better than you. They are people who are just able to recognize that you are powerless. They just see that you are powerless. They see you like you can't help yourself. So the wretchedness inside of them, the only way it interprets that is domination, right? If you just slap him once back, it can change his whole perception and say, oh, it's not what I think. And at times, that is what it has taken to cage most bullies.
Yeah.
Even in high school and elementary school. Just the guy putting his feet ground one day and fighting back. Just talk back and say, what do you mean? Wow. Because he never thought he's superior to you. He just thought that this is what you this is how he works with you.
Yeah.
You know. So at times it's just in the naivety of positioning, you know, that easy powerlessness, you know, and just letting the person know you can do anything to me. And the way you do that is that you, even when I expect somebody to say, no, don't do that, you smile. If I step on you now, Bouquis, I expect you to, it's normal to say, ouch. It's just normal to say, ouch. Now, if I step on you and you don't say, ouch, and you are hugging me and you are laughing, you know, don't think I'm going to appreciate that. I could be irritated with that and say, come on. You know, if you are a babe and a guy is trying to get your attention, you know, and he's behaving, you know, when they say a guy is cis and just behaving so, you know, you want a guy to be, you know, smart, you know, or, you know, forthcoming, you know, confident, you know, and being able to put you right if you go wrong, you know, and then you know I'm wrong. You know what I've done to this guy is wrong. You expect the guy to say, ouch, you are stepping on my feet. And then the guy is laughing. And you are irritated that, so how can this one even defend me? He thinks he's getting your impression. He thinks he's impressing you, but you're actually irritated. You know, so if that begins to happen in a home situation in the name of, I understand him, I just don't want it can be irritated. And it can begin to, you know, at times is the way the woman, you know, they said that harsh words stir up anger. That's scripture. Harsh words stir up anger. Yeah, but a soft tone pacifies. So there's a way you can also talk to somebody that you are calling the beast in the person out. Now, let's be clear. What you have said to that person is not the reason why the person is slapping you. The person is already a slapper, ab initio. But what you are saying, right, is a catalyst to bring out who he is.
Provokes,
provoke that person. Now, if the person doesn't know how to slap, he will feel the same anger. He will be as mad, but because he doesn't know how to slap, he will take his jacket and go for a walk, or put on CNN, or increase the music, or something, or just go quiet.
PlayStation.
Or PlayStation, or start silent treatment, or something. But he will react in his own way. But if you are a slapper, you will slap because you are a slapper. But you wouldn't have slapped as well if you're not in that environment that calls out your wretchedness, right? So at the end of the day, the weakness that is exuded on this side, the harassment coming from this side is one. Then the wretchedness that is already resident on the other side is another, right?
And then
so
the
it's
opportunity.
More, yes.
So I could be a slapper, but if I'm never exposed to the opportunity, everybody will say, "Oh, Bouquis is just so gentle."
Yes, so gentle in the way that you could be a thief and never steal. You could be a thief and never steal.
Isn't it because I'm a thief that qualifies me? Isn't it because I steal that they call me a thief?
No. You don't become a thief because you stole. You steal because you are a thief. You see, you steal because you are a thief, such that if you never had the misfortune of stealing in your lifetime, it doesn't make you less a thief. If you are a thief, whatever made you a thief, because nobody is born a thief. But whatever influence that made you a thief, once you are a thief, you have the propensity to steal. Now, with the right pressure, if you are a thief, you will steal. If you are not a thief, no matter the pressure, you will not steal because you don't know how to steal. You are not just a thief. So if you are a slapper, with the right pressure, you will slap because you are a slapper. It's not the issue that is making you slap, it's that you know how to slap. If you don't know how to slap, no matter the pressure, you will do something else, but you are not going to slap. You see what I'm saying? So in the same way, somebody go, oh, this guy is so kind. Oh, this guy is so gentle. It could be a ferocious lion who moments have not happened to activate that part of him. You see what I'm saying? So that is another, because I always say that people don't change. They only get revealed. People don't change. Wow. They only get revealed.
Wow. Let me read this part. So guys, this is my book. You know, it comes in a box set. It's about vulnerability. It has nothing to do with nudity. This is the book. This is the
I'm
book.
looking for my copy. I can't find my copy. Where did I keep it? I was so sure it was here.
And this is the box, and it has a bookmark. Oh, let me read what is on the bookmark, and we'll talk about this. My self-image is a picture of myself that I see in my mind when I think about myself. My self-esteem is how I feel about myself when I think about myself, influencing how I carry myself. My self-worth is the value I place on myself based on how I feel because of what I believe. How you see yourself will determine how you treat yourself and how others will treat you. Has the bookmark. It has a thank you card. And I'm always, thank you. I'm big on self-help and all that. So I created a journal. This is a 30-day journey to wholeness. It's about, discovering who you are. Who am I? Why am I here? Where am I going? And how do I get there? So it's just like a tool for you to do that. So you can find it on bouquisplace.com. And but I want to read this part to you, and then we'll talk about it because I know you have to go, and then we can close, right?
Yes.
So self-sabotage is a defense mechanism we devise to keep ourselves safe. When you are repeatedly rejected, you formulate a strategy to deal with whatever the situation throws at you. Superiority and inferiority complexes are the two most common types. They are twins, but one is maxed. Inferiority locks. Okay, so let me just leave it at that. Can you differentiate between inferiority complex and superiority complex? Because we know there's a underlying factor.
Yes. So you feel inferior, and that is what is called inferiority complex, because
can you link it to the last thing? Sorry to cut you. Can you link it to what we were talking about? How people are revealed?
Yes. So when you feel inadequate in yourself, first of all, let me say that both of them are what I call a reality bent. You can have a reality bent, meaning that it looks like you are walking this way, but you are actually walking the other way around. Your legs are up and your head is down. So you're actually walking with your head down, and your leg is what is in the sky, not your head.
Yeah.
What that means is that when you see 9, you're going to invert it. You're going to call it 6. Because when you see 6, you're going to invert it and you're going to call it 9. When you see confidence, you're going to call it pride. When you see principle, you're going to call it meanness. When you see prudent, you're going to say stingy. You are just thinking in the reverse, in the opposite. So when you see love, you're not going to receive it as love. You're going to call it, when they call somebody mugu, somebody is loving you, you say is a mugu. You are incapable of receiving that love. If anything, the opposite of that you are actually capable of enduring toughness and pain and disrespect and all of that. Once you struggle to receive love, also understand that you find it easy to receive hate. You see, you find it easy to endure persecution, to accept disrespect, to accept rudeness. You can accept all of these things because you don't know how to receive love. You don't even understand what love is. And somebody who grew up in a canteen somewhere in a deep inner city of Oyo or somewhere in Abuja or Lagos or Benin or somewhere in the inner side of, in Nigeria, for example, who is awoken every morning with curses, Olori Buruku Eda, and those kind of words, that person is starved of dignity and starved of honor, empty of respect. And no matter how you want to refine that person, you can put the best wig on that person, you can give him the best makeup, you can help the person take the best photo shoot, put him out, but there is a reality bent inside that the person is regulated from. You know, you put that person in a palace, she's still going to be a slave in that palace, even with a crown on her head. You see? So inferiority complex is essentially, you know, about interpreting your value by your perception of your inadequacies. So it's about you. It's not even about the other person at all. The other person can be a beast, can be anything. That's not the problem. That is a big problem. But that problem is not your problem. If you don't have a problem, you will invalidate that oppression. You will not validate it with your acceptance or your endurance or whatever you want to call it. You will not validate that oppression. You validate it because there's a crack within you as well that is capable of interpreting your own reality by your own inadequacy. So you believe I lack this, I'm not good enough, I'm not this, I'm not that, I'm not beautiful. You know, once you believe you're not beautiful, you know, every compliment is gold to you, even if it's a lie. Even if it's a lie, you don't think you are beautiful. Somebody says you are beautiful and they keep repeating it. That's the person you want to be with, because that's not the energy you think you get from people. If people look at you, somebody is angry with his daughter, and after rebuking his daughter, he turned to you frowning, you're going to say he doesn't like me. It's not about you, it's about his daughter. He was just in a serious exchange with his daughter, and or with his clerk or with his PA, and he turned to you. It's not about you. You just saw him in that moment. He's looking at me, so there's something wrong with me, because there's something wrong in you.
Yeah.
So that is inferiority complex. The superior one is the opposite, where you really cannot find your own meaning except you find somebody you perceive as lower than you. You see what I'm saying? So you must find weakness to define yourself. You must find weakness. See, let me go into this area. This is very bad, but I'll say it. When most of the time when we go to church to share testimonies, when we share testimony about what lacks universal celebratory Yes, for what is not celebratory universally, right? Meaning that this thing is not a testimony. It is not. But there's something that makes it a testimony here. So when you go to church and you testify that you bought a car, for example, in your same country, people are buying that car, they're not even thinking. They're not going to any church.
Your credit is good.
You know, they're just buying that car, right? And then you take that in your head and you are like, you know why you are celebrating? You are celebrating because the people who observe you label that car as a tool of superiority.
Wow.
They don't see a car. They don't see an instrument of efficiency. That's not what they see. They don't see an instrument of effectiveness. That's not what they see. What they see is a machine that represents superiority and betterment. That's what they see. So when you come to celebrate that you bought a car, you are aware subconsciously that your audience that is receiving this testimony are not seeing that you bought a machine that will make you effective. They are seeing that you have attained a status better than theirs or equal to theirs, or that puts them in a class or put you and them in a class, or that says that you are in a better place than them. So it is the inferiority in their life, the incompleteness, the inadequacy in their life, the ignorance and the powerlessness in their life that defines your relevance in that moment. Because if you change where you are, you're not going to be in a white church in America and say, you want to come and testify, I got visa. You're not going to come and do that. And the problem is not that the person came to celebrate that they got a visa. It is the authority and the leadership that allowed that testimony to flow as a banner of victory. And that means that collectively, the entire environment is being taught low self-esteem and inferiority. So how do those people then hold their own away from that space? Because you're already raising a bar that perpetuates their mediocrity. Let me explain that better, Bouquis. A journalist, a CNN journalist, wins an award in America. To win that award, he had to do 10 things, including maybe go to 2 war fronts and take some report from Iraq, or to win that award, he had to do 10 things.
Mm-hmm.
An African who works with a local TV in Nigeria or Ghana or Gabon wins the same award given to the same person by the same organization, except that the person in Africa was given the award for doing 3 things. His counterpart in America, who won the same award, won the award for doing 10 things, but they gave them equal award. Let me tell you, and it looks like it's normal, but let me tell you what is happening behind the scene. What is happening is that the observers of the American journalists are being raised, given a bar of excellence, that for you to get here, you have to do 10 things. For the guys in Africa, they are perpetuating their mediocrity. Because mediocrity becomes the benchmark for getting the best result. So those who look up to that journalist at home are just going to be trying to do 3 things. So that is an indirect way of perpetuating but though you get all the benefit, you know too that I didn't do what this person did, but you are getting the award. And then nobody outside of your country took you serious more than that day. And every attention you got after that day was back home. So you go to America or London to win an award. They didn't call you, the counterpart, the British counterpart who won the same award from that place went to Time Magazine for interview, went to Forbes for interview, from there was on Fox News for interview. You will never be called there because you didn't pay the price. You are not a story. You don't have the narrative that can entertain their own audiences. So you go back to your locale with your weak, rewarded story, which is the perpetuation of your mediocrity for your people to follow. In other words, reward is not the instrument for perpetuating your slavery. And then you go back and then shine that to your people, and then they are praising you. So this is the context that forms people's thinking and their perception of their reality. So in that kind of state, you can feel superior. First of all, there is no substance that defines that superiority. You know in your mind that when you stand with a manpower, you know in your mind that you are not the same, even if you have the same award. You know in your mind that you've not done half of this work, but you got that kind of attention. Anyway, it's like you see our people come on some programs on some international stations, and you know that these programs are not being seen by the world. This is a program curated for us, by us. I don't know what to call it, but it's you. And so it's feeling
I think you're even going too far. I think you're going too far, because if we look at social media, and this I know for a fact, there are people that create content just to lie and make themselves feel good.
Yes.
We know it's a lie. When I was in LA, this guy came to stay in my house. He was sleeping on the couch. And
here's what I found on the internet.
Sorry. Hey, Siri, wait till they talk to you. Sorry. He was sleeping on the couch, but he took pictures on my balcony. And I saw him taking the pictures. I didn't think anything of it. By the time he did color correction and put it on Instagram, I did not recognize my balcony. He said living the LA life, man. Calabasas was behind him. It looked like he was really living the life. And while that is okay because he was actually in LA, the impression you're putting out is something else that's different from reality.
Correct.
Could you say that that's really something wrong?
It's wrong. It's wrong because that kind of person is what he's doing to himself. He cannot even, there's unconscious loss.
False reality.
There's unconscious loss where you won't even cry because you're not even aware of what you are losing. So you won't even feel bad because you don't even know what you are losing. But when on the day of reckoning, on the call for your best self, on the demand for your highest confidence, you will crack because you have trained yourself to find your reading based on falsehood. So you have deceived your brain that you are where you are not, and the brain needs deception. The brain does not know the difference between truth and reality. So if you don't tell the brain what to believe, you know, the brain doesn't know what to believe. So you have to tell the brain. So if you lie to your brain that you are who you are not, you have to lie to the brain that you are who you are, because the brain needs that feedback, right? So if you are very happy and you are really acting sad every day, your brain is going to believe that you are sad, even if you have everything, even if you are a billionaire. And your attitude, your disposition, your demeanor, the way you talk, the way you are alone, everything you do is like, I'm in a terrible place. Your brain can even believe you are sick and begin to gather efforts to help you fight sickness, and which will now make you sick. You see what I'm saying? So you need to begin, it's called congruence. It's called congruence, you know, where your environment and your environment are one. The life you live away from the eyes and the one you live in front of people are one. That's congruence, right? So we all have to bring congruence into our lives, right? But the idea is that the moment you begin to feel you are better than people, in other words, you need, every time you see weakness, it unlocks, you know, some type of superiority, some type of, you know, betterment, some type of mastery that is not founded on anything. That's what it unlocks out of you. That is superiority complex. And what happened is that somebody who is lowly, you now become a respecter of person, not a respectful person. You see, when you have superiority complex, it means that if you don't find a value on someone in front of you, you cannot unlock your sense of virtue. If you don't find a value that is aligned with your interests and your agenda, you cannot unlock your sense of virtue. So if the person is not, one day I go to my office, my receptionist came to me, not here, way back in Nigeria, not that it cannot happen here, but he came to me, I was holding a piece of paper, just about 2 or 3. And then he came, I wanted to collect it. And I said, no, you can't. I don't need help. Don't offer unsolicited help. Furthermore, I don't even allow it. You can't, this paper is not heavy. I don't feel any discomfort. Because I know that if it was my chauffeur that was coming in with 200 bowls or cartons, he's going to say, don't let it pour on me. It's not going to help him. Because he's not a respectful person. He's a respecter of person. When you are a respecter of when you are a respectful person, it doesn't matter who is in front of you. You just understand the urgency of the moment, the needs that define it, and you want to meet it. Whether the person is a security guard or is the president. Because you are a respectful person, you don't know how to be disrespectful. And you don't know how to discount moments. You just have to supply your best self in any moment because it is who you are. It's not what you do. You are a respectful person. But when you are a respecter of persons, it means that if you can't find a value sensitive to your interest in front of you, your sense of virtue cannot be unlocked.
What's in
you
it
see?
for me? Yeah.
Yes, you must find what is in it for you. And if you can't, and all of that happened in less than a second. And then somebody tries to shake you, and then you look away and put your eyes away.
Yeah, what does this one have to offer me? Yeah.
What does he have to offer me? Who is this one? You know, who is this one? You know, I see people who come to me who really want to be friends. They want to, but I could see through all of that. I could see that the reason why they are here is they have an agenda, or they now feel, oh, this one is in our class, it's in our social class, and they want to plug into their community. I don't reject their hands of fellowship. I go in there, but not very long, they get the message very clear. I am not like you, and I'm not going to feed your ignorance. I'm not just not going to feed it. Because right there, we're going to see things that I want to reach out to. We're going to go out, I'm going to want to pay attention to somebody. I'm going to want to pay attention to the waiter beyond tips. I want to engage him. Because you can give somebody a tip to let him know that I'm better than you. So let's be clear. Or you can give somebody...
you know, my dad used to say that, you know, when guys would ask us out, my dad would say, don't look at how they're treating you, because they want to make an impression.
Correct.
Look at how they're treating the people they seemingly don't think they can benefit anything from.
Correct.
That's who they really are.
Correct. That's who they are.
That's who they really are. That's who,
that's who they are.
Check out for
that. That's who they are. That's who they are.
Someone told me this, and I see what you're saying, because someone told me when I got my PhD, right? Someone gave me a call and said, now that you're a doctor, I know that. And I was in my mind thinking, why is this person giving me time, right? And I said, so because I'm a doctor, you're talking to me. Do you know what this person said? And that time you are just a rapper now. This ain't me.
Can you imagine?
He said, you are just a rapper. So in his mind, he felt a rapper was lower.
That's it.
Intellectually, you know. But now that I have gotten a PhD, I have entered into his class.
It's terrible. It's terrible. And people show that every day. Every day. You know, it's the same. I always tell people that if Bill Gates was in Nigeria, he would never be who he is. It would that for so many reasons he can't become who he is. You know, he is a school dropout. What do you say you are working? What are you working on? You know, so there's just so many reasons that people will classify you based on the wrong standards, and they will deny you the access and the acceptance that you deserve just because you don't meet their perception of value. Not that you are not valuable.
Yeah.
You just don't meet their perception of value, and they are ready to hold their entire environment accountable to their standard. They will hold everybody down to their rules, and that is how people roll.
And that's why external validation can't be our go-to.
No, it can't. It can't. It has to be inside out. It has to be inside out. I say that to myself a lot because I had to fight my way into freedom. It wasn't given to me.
How did you do that?
Oh, on so many levels. I have had to question everything, even the perception of my faith, the whole burden of religion. You know, because on many levels, I wasn't myself. You know, that counsel I have given people 10 years ago that I can't give them now. Because at that time when I gave them that counsel, there were times where if you come to me and you tell me that your husband is doing this or you are doing that, I will tell you, don't worry, endure. You know, God will do it. Let's talk to him. I will tell you that. There are times when now I will tell you the most powerful person on the negotiation table is the one that is ready to walk away without a deal.
Soft. I learned that in school. Soft. It's solution away from the table. Yeah.
Yes. And as long as you want to have a deal, this guy's going to continue to take it for granted. So what we need to do now is not to build subserviency, it's to build your power. Build your power. And I tell every woman, if you don't learn how to build your power, there's just a stick you cannot have on the table. And that has nothing to do with being rude or being disrespectful. But every human being is born with power. And if you don't learn to wield your power, no matter who you are, no matter where you find yourself, you know, I always listen to, and I'm sorry to say this because people can come at me for this, but, you know, I recognize the problem and I don't disagree with it. But saying that men should give women room, you know, we need men to come and join this movement. We need men to also tell their fellow men this, and I agree with it. But if that is your top strategy, you are going to wait for a long time because people don't give you what you deserve. You get what you negotiate, and what you negotiate intentionally. If I am a woman and we are leading a movement, my strategy will not be tied to any man. My strategy will be tied to the assumption that if men refuse to give us the place that we deserve, how do we get it?
Okay.
That's where we are going to camp. I'm not going to camp around, okay, let's go and talk to the men, you know, let the men give us room. It's like young people saying, you know, old people should give us room. I said, this is a weak way to fight for anything. You know, power does not recognize tears.
You take
power only recognize power, as they say. That has gone viral everywhere. Why do you think somebody is just going to give you room? Nobody's going to give you what you deserve. You're going to get what you negotiate. I realize these things quite late. You know, I've waited on people, just waiting on them to do the right thing. These guys are not going to do the right thing. So I got to know what the right thing is, and I got to know how it affects me, and I have to know how to attract it or how to fight for it. But that's what's going to happen.
Wow.
I'm not just going to go to bed and wake up bright and white. You don't go to bed and wake up a medical doctor. You don't. If you want to be a medical doctor, you got to go to school. You are going to go to school. Yeah. So these things are not bestowed. You got to negotiate them every time, right? Yeah.
That's amazing. PK, I want to release you, but I want to take a few questions because I'm so sorry we couldn't acknowledge anybody in the comments.
Yeah.
Because it was just too hot to interrupt, you know. So I'm going to take 3 questions. I'm going to give 2 books out. I'm going to
Great.
give 2 books out, but please, you have to be in America or you have to have an American address because we're only shipping, even though if you purchase online at bouquisways.com, you can get the books and ship to wherever, but we're giving this out and we're only shipping locally in America. So I'm going to give 2 books out, but I'm going to take 2 questions for PK. I mean, I have so many questions from me, but I'm like, okay, Bouquis, you know, stay in your sphere of influence. You know, so I'm like, okay, let's open this up. If you have a question for PK, do you want them to come on or no? Or they should just put it in the comment section?
In the comment, whatever works. Okay, whatever works, I'm comfortable
Okay,
with.
if you want to come on and you have good lighting and good audio and good Wi-Fi, we're going to bring you on. You ask PK any question. We have only 10 minutes for this because we've been on since, okay, we didn't start on time, but I still want him to have some time to go. So if you have a question and you want to come on, request and we'll do that. Or if you want to put it in the comment section. He said, Chichi said, how do I define my purpose?
So I don't think your purpose needs definition. That is overflogged. My answer to that is very simple. Whatever your hands finds to do. First of all, you know, I'm a student of scripture. I'm a Christian, and my faith governs a lot of what I do and what I understand. And I don't see purpose as a discovery. If you discover your purpose, you will be one of the very few people who got permitted, for reasons best known to him, to have that experience. To say you are going to a retreat or going to one mountain to go and learn what God wants you to do in life, you're going to wait for a long time. Whatever you learn there is going to change as well. Trust me. So the best way that is recommended in scripture, the most recommended way for everyone is whatever your hands finds to do, do it with all your might. Number 2, faithfulness in little brings more. Number 3, he that is faithful in that which is another, his own will be given to him. So, number 1, be diligent in whatever comes to you. Whatever you find your hands doing, your prevailing responsibility is a path to your future meaning and your future power and your future responsibility. Your prevailing responsibility, no matter what it is. Inside your prevailing responsibility is all whatever your hands finds to do. Is also faithfulness in little, is also faithfulness in that which is another person's. So in your prevailing responsibility is the path to your future meaning, to your future power, and to your future responsibility. So don't discount where you are. Your moments are powerful. Recognize them and define them as that. They are the path to your ultimate, to your highest. Prioritize them. Whether you are working for yourself or working for someone, your prevailing responsibility, no matter what they are the pathway to your highest that you deserve. So that's how I see these things called purpose, my mission, my whatever it is. Just stay in there. If you are faithful in little, more will gravitate towards you. And yours will gravitate towards you. Even if what you are faithful in, it belongs to somebody else. Your own will gravitate towards you. That is the design that works for everybody. Now there are exceptions. God can now come to you overnight and say, my son, this shall be your path. You shall now be jumping from this to that. That's possible. That is true. But you can't build your life on that because that is an exception. That doesn't happen for everybody. The generic rule, the principle, the truth that applies for everyone anywhere is prioritize your prevailing responsibility. Don't discount it because right in there is your nest. Yeah. That's where it is.
Yeah. Wow. And wow, that's amazing because we tend to downplay where we are in anticipation of where we want to go to.
Yes.
And what we don't understand is it is the accumulation of the now that will give us the where and the how to get to the where, you know?
Yes. So, yes.
Yeah. Okay, so what if I have I'm a multi-potentialite? What if I have 10 talents? I can sing, I can dance, I can rap, I can cook, I can do it all excellently well, which I call the curse of the gifted, right?
It
How do I
is.
know which one to prioritize per time? You know, I'm conflicted. Do I start singing? Do I start making clothes? How do you know which one is supposed to take the forefront and which one is to take the back burner?
First of all, if you know how to do 200 things and none of them is giving you the sense of meaning and social strength that you need to have. And what I mean by that is because when you are developing socially, it means that you have income at least every 30 days.
Yeah.
You have income at least every 30 days. Number two is you are building relationships that serve your cause and serve your existence.
Mm.
And number three is that you are thinking and respectful of family and community, and you are able to play your role in that. Then you are socially developed and you are socially developing. So if you, sorry, I missed the question there.
No. How do you put, which one do you put?
Yeah. I get it. So if you have 200 things, and I was there, it's like Bouquis said, that is the curse of the talented, really. But if you have not scaled any one of those 200 to give you that social development, then you have to pick one. Pick one of them. And that one should be the one. See, so when you are bedridden, this is my analogy. If you are bedridden and every part of your body will give you pain, you need to go ease yourself in the restroom. But you are on a bed and every part of your body will pain you terribly, no matter how you get up. Every part of your body is in pain. Yet you still have to go ease yourself. In less than a second to do that, to go ease yourself, to get up from that bed, in less than a second, your brain is going to process your point of lowest pain and greatest strength. Your brain is going to process your point. If that point of lowest pain and greatest strength is your shoulder, you're going to see yourself rising from your shoulder, from there. If that point is your legs, your right leg, you're going to find yourself rising, putting all your body on that right leg and rising from there. Because that's your point of lowest pain. Whichever way, you will feel pain anywhere. But that is your point of lowest pain and therefore greatest strength. Your brain will find that point, and that's where you will rise from. So no matter how much talents you have, find that point, which is easiest to start, give you the greatest skill, rewards you the most, get to market faster, or whatever it is. Find that one that is easiest, that you can start, lowest pain, greatest strength, and sell one kenneth. I always tell people, a talented person is designed with the capacity to be the richest and the wealthiest. Because a talented person, we find, can never exhaust the rush of the arrival of an idea, but he better have capacity to execute.
Yeah.
So if he doesn't have capacity to execute, every idea that he cannot execute will be his misery and his death. And so build one canoe, get one canoe sailing, so that you have resources. It's called capacity. It is the person that is well that can donate blood. It is the person that is well that can donate blood. If you go to the hospital and offer them all your blood and you are HIV positive, I'm not trying to put that community down, but if you are struggling with that, they will appreciate the favor, they will receive the offer, but they will reject the blood because the blood is incapable of supporting the commitment you are trying to stand behind or rally around, right? So you have to be well to donate blood in the hospital. Yeah. Now that wellness is capacity. It's capacity. Yeah. So sell one keynote and build capacity. A friend of mine starts a new business every year. Every year he starts a new business. It's a 10-time Grammy Award winner, 30-time Stellar Award winner. And it tells me every year I must start a new business. Every year he starts a new business. And that's because there's capacity. There's resource. There's people resource. There's money resource. There's everything he needs to start them is there. Right? Humble beginning is different from person to person. To somebody it's $2. To somebody else it's $10 million. It's still humble beginning. right? Depending on where you are.
It's
So,
relative, yeah.
so grow capacity. And once you grow that, which gives you cash flow, which gives you the capacity to respond to your ideas, you can now you can be jack of all trade, master of all. I always tell people, jack of all trade, master of nothing is the one who pursued everything without capacity. Jack of all trade,
Right.
master of all is the one who built capacity before he pursued everything.
Yeah.
So capacity is get one ship sailing and then use the value of that ship that is sailing to build all your other canoes and all your other ship. That's the way it works.
Yeah, amen to that. Someone said use the mirror effect. I don't know if it's this. I can't really scroll anymore. So we're just gonna pick it. We're just gonna. I mean, I don't. If we keep you, you know, we will just keep keeping you.
We'll be here
Someone said,
forever.
they said, where do you draw inspiration from?
The Bible.
The Bible, the principles of the Bible.
The Bible, and I do have a relationship with my Creator. I don't have a perfect one, but I have an ongoing one, and that's most important. Yeah, that's where I get my inspiration from.
I know the answer. That's great. I know the answer to this question because I've asked you before, so I'm going to ask anyway. When you are in a situation where you're being used and you want to exit or pull yourself out of the, but you know exactly what the person is. How do you know, when you're
There's
being
nothing
used?
wrong in being used, brother. There's nothing wrong in being used. Fight and resist misuse. Use is a precursor for engagement. You will never find your deserved space and respect, and your territory will not be given to you except you learn to put yourself out for use. There's nothing wrong with usage. Even if the user has a different agenda, ensure that a daily expression of yourself, you know, is a face of a bigger picture that you see, right? Joseph served, you know, in different places. They even persecuted him, sent him to jail. But everywhere they threw him was a launch pad for his next level because he understood his own commitment. So understand your commitment, put yourself out for use. It is human to serve. Dogs don't serve, lions don't serve, tigers don't serve, except they are instructed to do so or conditioned to do so by the human being, right? You cannot say you love if you don't have the potential and the capacity to hate. When people tell me dogs love, I say, what do you mean? The dogs was trained to respond like that. Can he choose to hate even if nobody did anything wrong to him? If you don't have the power to hate and to love, if you love, you are programmed. You are not in love. If you say you love, then you must withhold your right to be foolish. You must withhold your right to hate. Then if you not love in spite of that right, that's also only human beings can love because we are the only ones that have the choice to choose to hate even without being provoked. So we are the ones that have that choice. So every time we love, we make that choice. That's why we are the one with the capacity to love. So stay there. Let people use you. You know, what you should prevent is misuse. Now, at what level are you being misused? When the usage threatens you at your core, your essence, your meaning, your dignity, right? If it threatens all of that and it's taking away from your joy, from who you are, then that environment does not deserve your usage. Now you are going to go to another environment to be used again, right? You are not escaping usage. It's just that these guys don't know how to put a premium on usage. So you go somewhere else where you will still be used. To decide to escape usage is actually suicide. You just killed yourself out of meaning. You have to be used. Avoid misuse, but take on usage. You must be used. So check it very well. Don't just run away because they are doing something. Check it very well. At times, persecution is a path. You know, persecution can be a path, but these are symposium discussions. But my advice to you is don't just run away. Take a second look at it. If you can't find an advantage, even in that corruption, remember what Apostle Paul said. Some preach the gospel out of pretense, hoping to pull us down. Some preach it out of love, right? So whether in pretense or in truth, Christ is preached. In this we rejoice, yes, we rejoice. So find that value for yourself. find that advantage, run it parallel to their own agenda. God did it to the devil. The devil was killing Jesus all day long, but God's agenda was locked in the devil's character. As the devil fulfilled his agenda, God fulfilled his own as well. So had I known, I would not have crucified the Lord of glory. So you have to learn to send evil on errand. On his best day, is achieving your good. You have to see that, right? See that. Yeah.
Wow. So how do you know when to exit that? Because you know how some people say, God is telling me to stay there just because they can't venture out, or they don't have the wherewithal, the courage to start something new. They're like, God is just telling me to stay. God. Meanwhile, everything shows around that, no, this is, the brook has dried here, move on. So how do you find the courage?
So yes, I always tell people, find a strategy. The voice of God is the most, overrated. Few things are overrated in life. One is the voice of God. 2 is marriage. 3 is childbearing. 4 is wealth and success. I think I have about 7 of them like that. Things that are terribly overrated, and they are destroying the world because of the misconception that follows them. Right? The idea that God told me, you see somebody who's saying God told me anyhow. Now it's time to make a decision between 2 jobs. He's going to go. I thought God was talking to you every day. He said, as I was going out yesterday, God said to me, don't go. As I was going to work, God said, wait, if it's that easy, why are you struggling now? So a lot of people just, prioritize their own fiefdom and preferences in the name of God's voice. But I always say to people, find meaning. Find meaning. He said, it keeps you busy with the joy of your heart. That's scripture too. It keeps you busy with the joy of your heart. So that's scripture. So find that God will never keep you busy. He said, you will not ask for snake, for bread, and I'll give you snake. You will not ask for egg, and I'll give you scorpion. And it keeps you busy with the joy of your heart. He said, the blessing of the Lord makes rich, has no sorrow. So if it is God, it's accomplished with righteousness, peace, and joy. Righteousness, peace, and joy, and on your terms, not on the terms of the people you are engaging with. They can come with all kinds of toxicity, but you have a defined path, and your advantage in this process is clear to you, right? So if David was going to be king. David couldn't have been oppressed by Saul, and David now run away from Israel and say, I don't want the problem. Then he will never be king. So he knew, I'm going to be king. He had been anointed as king, but he wasn't going to be king on the terms of Saul, but on his own terms. And so he hung around the palace, though, and kept doing all that he was doing, and then his opportunity came, and the palace was his. So you must find your own value. Even Jesus, they said, for the joy set before him, he endured the cross. So what is the joy set before you in that relationship? They may not see it, but do you have a bigger meaning you have seen, that they think they are using you, they think they are oppressing you, but you see what you are gaining and where you are gaining? Maybe you are mastering a skill, or you are growing your network, or whatever it is, or you are gaining understanding and a unique insight, into a reality that a devil is in charge of the pathway, but you are learning it all the same. Just like Moses was in the palace of Pharaoh, and the Bible said he mastered all the ways of the Egyptians, all their skills and everything, so that he can function in his own role as a deliverer. So at times, you just have to find your own, in fact, every time, find your own narrative, find your own meaning, and understand the value of the platform you are engaging in, sensitive to your own agenda. Everybody has an agenda. God has his agenda. You are the one that doesn't have your agenda, and that is why you are feeling so bad, so used, and all of that, because your engagement are not tied to your own emancipation and progress. So find yours and launch it parallel to whatever it is they think they are doing, and you will be fine. The more confident they grow in their own treasury, the more you find definition for your own path, right? But you must have your path. Have your own agenda, have your goal, create your own meaning, and there lies your power.
You must have a strategy. You heard that.
Yeah.
Wow, that's oof. And then this last question before we go. I got into a boarding house quite early. Some events occurred and I lost my self-esteem since then. How do I recover?
Well, talk to someone. A lot of times, if it was easy for you to do, you won't be asking this question. So that you are asking this question in itself is proof that you are not enough for that situation. You are enough for your destiny. You are enough for your purpose. You are enough for your journey of life. But in this moment, you need more voices and more understanding on your wisdom table. So reach out for help. Also, I don't know who you are. I don't know how close you are, but I also believe very strongly that there's a spirit in man, whether you are a Muslim, whether you are a Christian, whether you are Buddhist, no matter who you are, there's a spirit in man, and it is the breath of the Almighty that gives understanding. Your Creator is around you in the least. Depending on the privilege of your association, it can be inside of you, and it can be upon you, depending on your privilege of relationship with your Maker. But even if it's not living inside of you, it's around you is enough to give clarity. Pay attention to your spirit, be alive to the elements that define you, your peace, your joy. Pay attention to those things and begin to reclaim your power again. But reach out for what you consider to be better help, people better than you who have been where you want to be, and learn. There's a lot to unlearn as well. At times learning is not forward, it's backward. So there's a lot to unlearn. And then two things that defeat man is either ignorance or forgetfulness. So there's a lot to relearn. The things you know that you have forgotten, and you may need to begin to prioritize again. Between learning, relearning, and unlearning, you will find your power. Redemption will embrace you, and newness will be born. But find yourself. Connection to your Creator, for me, is the highest level of consciousness. Take that journey, and God will bless you and reveal Himself to you.
Amen to that. Oh, PK, on this note, I'm going to release you, but any final words? Because, there's so many people trying to figure out.
Final word is get that book. That's final word for me.
Go get the book. Y'all, B.O.U.Q.u.i.
Go get that book.
BOUQUI'S.com. Get the book. The journal will help you. I was going to give 2 out, but it looks like we're running out of time. I already said I'm going to give 2 out anyway, so I'm going to stick to my words. DM me, send me. I want to give 2 people this book, and you must have a local address here in America, even if you don't live here. And please, we're going to save this on Bouquie's Place on YouTube. Watch it again. This life, so it's going to be on YouTube. Subscribe, hit the button so that you can get notifications, the bell on YouTube. And PK, what can I say?
Blessings, Bouquis. I've enjoyed myself thoroughly.
Oh my God. And it started out like we were not going to do it, but
yeah, we went on and on. We have to give it to Ray. Bouquis, this guy, Ray Akam, FX, I don't know if you see him, but he was the first guy to come here. And he said that this is for me. Even if nobody comes here, it's for me. So that's the guy to get that book to.
Okay, Ray, do you have a local address here in America? Let me send it to you. If you're here, or you can get anybody that I can send it to, I will mail you the whole box. It's a book, a journal, 30-day journey to wholeness, a thank you card, bookmark, and if you say you don't have a pen, I have a gold pen for you that has Bouquie's Place inscribed on it. You have a pen that comes in the set. Okay, so send me your details in my DM on my message, and then I will send you a book. So let me give one more person. So Ray Akam, yes, you have an address. Okay, send me the address. Who else? I think there was another guy that was here that was really...
I think Oluwaseun, the ambassador. I think he was here as well. Oluwaseun.
Oh, maybe he's gone.
No, I think I saw him.
Really?
I doubt he will leave. Oluwaseun, if you are here, can you? I think I saw him. Oluwaseun.
Who's Adesimi? I didn't know you were below. He said I will send my... No, we're not giving it to everybody.
Maybe he wants to buy. Maybe he wants to buy.
People have to buy on the website. This is me giving this out. So this is the box set.
Oluwaseun is here. I just responded and said, I'm here.
Oluwaseun, ambassador. Okay. Send me a a local address here in America, let me send you the book. So 2 books are gone. Thank you so much, PK. Please remember to send me the addresses so that I can send them out. Send them out to you. I love you so much, PK. Just can you say a word over us? Can you just say a word?
Yes. I just want to. We live in complex times. If there's anything that is urgent in my spirit, is the complexity of the times. We are living in very perilous times, guys. These are not normal times. You know, don't just sleep. Don't take things for granted. Be present everywhere you are going. Destiny is movement sensitive. The times are movement sensitive. Don't just go anywhere. Be selective about where you go. Be alert, be present anywhere you are, whether you are in America or in Nigeria or in England, anywhere. These are not normal times. And there's an exchange going on in the world. There's an exchange. And that exchange is deep and is transgenerational. And what you find is that voices are fading and voices are rising. Powers are fading and powers are rising. And underdogs are the very instrument for dominance in these times. And so position yourself, pay attention to your unique journey. Let your purpose define you. You know, let your humanity guide you. Don't be reckless in this time. Open your spirit to learn, you know, be prayerful, and be reflective more, you know, prioritize your moments, you know, don't take people for granted, you know, for good or for evil, don't take people for granted. Everybody coming into your life will lift you or kill you in these times. So be conscious. Not everybody is coming to bless you. And there are a lot of wolves in sheep clothing, and there are incredible sheep that you can define as wolves. So be alert. That's what I would say to you, and be prayerful in these times. And what I would leave you with is pray for wisdom. Pray for wisdom. You see, the way you interpret everything will make a difference for you. You know, your eyes are blessed because you will see. Your ears are blessed because you will hear. And to you, it has been given to interpret mysteries. And God will guide you in this season. And don't be afraid. Some of you are going to have visitations spiritually. And, you know, you are going to feel a higher call to a higher self. You know, you're going to find yourself paying attention to things you've taken for granted. And I believe that more than ever before, God is chasing the soul of men. And you will find don't be afraid to ignore your friends. And don't be afraid to go it alone in this season with God. Don't be afraid. If you feel that God is putting a demand on you to get closer and to begin to abandon some of your habits and your whims and fancies and indulgences and idiosyncrasies, whatever. If you feel that, idiosyncrasies, if you feel that God is pushing you to begin to doubt some of your doubts, you know, don't be afraid to stand alone on that path. You know, these are not time for merry. These are time for contemplating. These are time for reflection, right? Stay in that tranquility, and, you know, everything is running towards you. Stop hustling, you know, start positioning more. Hustle is the sentence of the slave within the next 10 years. Don't just jump around, you know, get direction and move intelligently, bring pattern and science and protocol into how you move. Goodness and mercy shall follow you, not be before you to be pursued all the days of your life. Goodness and mercy shall follow you, not for a while, they are gravitating towards you. Your dreams, everything you see, you feel, are all gravitating towards you. Pause, stop, turn back, and actually receive. Receive, because everything is coming towards you. That's what I would say to you. And learn, relearn, unlearn in this season. Go out of your way. You know, what Bouquis is doing is incredible. Plug more into it. She's done some other series. Find a platform, go listen. A pastor called me after our last session and he was saying, "Oh, PK, you were saying some things there before I've never heard you say." I said, "It's Bouquis. It's Bouquis. It's the question she's asking me." You know, I said, if you have given me the mic and she's not the one asking me that question, I probably will not go there at all. there's just a depth in the way she curates her platform, and I'm going to encourage you all. You may think it's because it's me. Honestly, it doesn't matter who she's interviewing, she will call that depth out. So go listen to some of the other episodes. God will bless you for that.
Oh,
that's what I have to say. Bless you, sis.
I love you so much. God bless you. Love to the family. I'll call you after. Thank you guys for rocking with us. And people want us to do this more often. Me and PK, they want us to do. They said monthly. And you know what you said? Now someone actually, like 2 people said it. They said, you know what? I kind of watch PK on other platforms, but the way you guys interact, that can we do it more often? So that's why I called you earlier. That can we do it monthly?
Yes. We should actually. Why not? People want it. We can always make it happen. I look forward to it.
Thank you so much. God bless you guys. Have a fantastic week.